So we have 50 participants. So we'll start the session. Meanwhile, others will keep joining. Zahur sir, you are there?
Yeah, I'm here, sir. Right.
Hello.
So good afternoon to you all. On behalf of Osmania University and Osmania Technology Business Incubator, I invite you all for this online 1 week entrepreneurship skill certification course. I would like to welcome our today's speaker, Madam Radhika Shankar, our CEO, Dr. Zaharullah sir, and all the participants. So I request Dr. Zaharullah sir to give the welcome remarks.
Yeah, Hafiz sir. So I welcome all the participants. I welcome the today's speaker, Dr. Radhika Meenakshi Shankar, Madam. This course is designed as an online 1 week course. It is generally called as Entrepreneurship Skill Certification course, and it's the flagship program of Osmania TBI, where we conduct it very oftenly, and so it's a gateway channel for us to select the entrepreneurs and take them forward for pre-incubation program. So that's the main concept of this entrepreneurship skill certification course. So if you see here, we have designed the course for 1 week, where the schedule have been shared to your email IDs, and so it runs through several concepts like how to start a business, what are the qualities of an entrepreneur, and then how a market research can be done and market analysis would be done, and then starting from the schemes by the different agencies like MSME and certain grants amount from Startup India Seed Fund scheme or METI, so you name it. So that would be the sessions covered here, and further on finance, taxation, budgeting, and moreover a session is there which will run on the how to write an DPR, like detailed project report, or in fact, like you have another session today on business plan by the another eminent speaker. So we have some other modules which covers on the success stories of the entrepreneurs and the startups, and then followed with a final day on 18th July. We would conduct one entrepreneurial assessment test for all the participants, and we select the best people out of it for our pre-incubation program. So now today, after every session, there would be a half-an-hour session, 30 minutes, which covers on the summary of the today's presentation, or you can say the pitch deck presentation, where one has to make based upon their idea. So you have to make your idea and then make concise, or you can say prepare a pitch deck as a business model, revenue model, or a complete business plan. So that session would be there where you have to share your views and your prototypes or your POCs. So this would be run every day, and so this is what we have planned for the complete week. So we have onboarded very eminent speakers, mentors in the fields of business, technology, marketing, and also in incubation space. So these are the this is the complete summary of this ESCC program, and I wish you all the best, and we will meet once again, and I welcome you with this introduction. And I request Dr. Officer to proceed further. Thank you very much.
Hello? I can't hear you. Dr. Basha, can you hear me?
Is it audible now?
Now it's audible, yeah.
Yes, ma'am. So I'll just quickly read out some of the instructions to the participants before we introduce our today's speaker. So first, everyday attendance would be recorded. Every session feedback forms should be submitted by the registered participants. Participants need to submit the assignments, which will be in the form of PPTs, and this will be explained in detail during the session. And Google Form registered participants only will be allowed to attend the program, and we will declare the list on the first day of the program. Have to compulsorily undergo Entrepreneurship Assessment Test on the last day, and those who will attend every day and fulfill the above criteria will receive the certificate of this course. So now I take the privilege of introducing our today's guest. Madam Radhika Meenakshi is actively involved in the industry circles and academic campuses. 2011. Her enterprise focuses on entrepreneurship education, wide training, entrepreneurs, trainers, faculties, students. She has to her credit of training more than 20,000 potential and existing entrepreneurs, both domestic and in international arena. She consults for educational institutions for their entrepreneurial activities, student ventures, incubation, and IPR activities. She is a registered, accredited mentor and board advisor with many government, campus, and private incubators and accelerators across the country. Prior to this, she was a professor with many reputed universities across India for over 2 decades as a faculty of finance and entrepreneurship. So welcome, ma'am. Now I request ma'am to please take over and start the session.
Good afternoon, and thank you very much for that wonderful introduction. And thank you very much for inviting me to share my thoughts with the cohort. Welcome to the entrepreneurship training course. I'll start. Let me just share my PowerPoint and then I'll start. Can you see the PowerPoint? Can you see the PowerPoint?
No, ma'am, not yet.
Not yet. Yes, now we can see your screen. Yes, ma'am, we can see your slides.
Thank you. I'm just putting it on PowerShow. Is it showing now on slideshow?
Yes, ma'am.
Yes.
Please continue.
Okay, right. So good afternoon once again. And today I'm going to talk to you about entrepreneurship, why we need entrepreneurship, what all are the qualities you require to be an entrepreneur, and more importantly, how do you take an idea? What are the first 10 steps that you need to do in order to start a business of your own? So that is what is in the agenda today, and we will go about looking at it. But before that, I would like you to look at this picture and guess who these people are. Now let's start with the person who's wearing a coat on the left.
Sunil Mittal.
Sunil Bharti Mittal.
What's he famous for?
Telecom services.
Bharti Airtel.
So he started off in Palika Bazaar with a small shop selling, Beetle phones and all that. And he'd gone on a conference and he saw the mobile phone and he said he should be the first mover in the space and in India. And he went ahead and opened Airtel. Now, the person on the right, anybody can guess?
Sanjeev Bikhchandani.
Yes. Excuse me, sorry. Correct. Sanjeev Bikhchandani of Naukri.com. The man who first joined in the world of unemployment, where India is besetted with a lot of unemployment problems. He brought in the online company called Naukri.com that matched the person without a job with the right job profile by using a lot of filters online. And that really, really, really paved the way to a very easy employment technique. So that's Sanjeev Bikhchandani. Next, the person on the left.
Narayan Murthy of Infosys.
Obviously. So Narayan Murthy of Infosys, and I think I don't need to say anything anymore. The man who took the company Infosys to become a global MNC, and and to even today Infosys stands as an icon company. And to know that he was actually a working professional before he started this with his friends. Yes, the next person.
Kishore Biyani, Big Bazaar.
Yeah, I hear the same voice. May I know who it is? Can you introduce yourself?
I'm Saujanya, ma'am. I'm Saujanya from Rajahmundry.
Okay, hi Saujanya. I think thank you. You've been able to identify very well. Yes, this is Kishore Biyani, and he is known as the father of retail. So all the malls that you see, right, they are all retail outlets, right? But Kishore Biyani was the first one to bring this concept of a retail shop which sells everything through his company called Pantaloons, right? And Big Bazaar. All these are a part of Kishore Biyani's group. So he is in fact known as the father of retail business in our country. And so he is a pioneer for that. Yes, the person on the left.
Lakshmi Nivas Mittal.
Nana.
No? Am I getting it wrong? Both. This is Anil Agarwal Vedanta. One is Anil Agarwal Vedanta.
Yes. Yes. The Hamara person here. He's Rahul Bajaj of Hamara Bajaj. Yeah.
Oh, okay.
Okay, so Rahul Bajaj took over from his father when the company was at 70 million and brought it to more than $50 billion. That's the turnover he brought it, and the company is again a very iconic company, Bajaj Motors, and known for its patriotism a lot. Of course, here is Mr. Anil Agarwal, and he started the Vedanta group, which is also one of the largest groups in the mineral area. They've started in the minerals, right? Now let's go to Jaswantben Popat. Way back in 1959, when they were widows, 7 ladies borrowed 80 rupees and they knew only one thing. They were child widows. They knew only one thing, and that was making papads. And at that time, papads were not available in the shops, and so they used to make them and sell them, right? And today, the same 7 women has grown in 60 years to about more than 60 years, I think, to 45,000 members and a turnover from 80 rupees to 1600 crores. And one of the 7 sisters, the main person, Jaswantben Popat, was honored by our with the Padma Bhushan last year, I think a year before. So that's again a person who's not studied, a person who's not properly qualified, a person who's absolutely just on the strength of her friends, 7 of them. And even today, the company employs only women, and it is still a cooperative where every member gets money according to the amount of papads that they make. Of course, Mallika Srinivasan again is a totally different person. She comes from a family which is very well educated, the Shakti group, which is very, very well known down south. and she took over. But what's great about her is the fact that she started a mini tractor. So Taffy is a mini tractor which is more useful in the Indian terrain, because we have smaller, unlike extensive farming that happens abroad. In India, we have very small fragmented pieces of land, and for this we need a smaller tractor which can be maneuverable easily, and that's what her company Amalgamations does. And she is also doing very well, pioneer in the field of mini tractors. I think Shahnaz Hussain is a household name by now, and way back in 1971, being qualified in cosmetology, Shahnaz Hussain decided to dabble with Ayurvedic cosmetics, and she is the first one to come with organic herbal cosmetics. Today she has more than so many crores and more than 471, I think, if I'm not mistaken, clinics across the world. And she's got her shop in some of the largest malls in London and in other places. Kiran Mazumdar is known as the Biocon Queen. She is one of the richest women entrepreneurs, and she is the pioneer in starting the biotech firm called Biocon. And she is again a pioneer in the field of biotechnology in our country. Ekta Kapoor, all of 19 when she started Balaji Telefilms, and she realized that film and TV drama serials are going to be the rage in our country. And right from Doordarshan days, she started producing. And of course, her most famous serial is Kyun Ki Kabhi Saas Bhi Kabhi Bahu Thi, and it has a great TRP rating. And she is, of course, also the daughter of actor Jitendra. So Ekta Kapoor, again, a very well-known women entrepreneur. So all these people did not start their business with how can I get money out of the handbag of people, because if any business that starts with how can I get money from your purse to mine will never ever survive. But a business that always starts by saying how can I make your life better, how can I create more benefits and value for you, that business will always survive. So that is the start of my lecture, that an entrepreneur is a person who starts their own business to create value for others by solving their problems. I repeat, an entrepreneur is a person who starts business in order to create value for others by solving their real-time problems, not a person who starts a business to make money. So usually business means to make money. But if you were to start a business to create value, and how do you create value? When you solve problems. We'll go to it a little more now. But let's understand what is business.
Hello.
Sorry? Yes?
Sorry to interrupt, but your voice is not audible, ma'am. Please.
Is it now audible?
I think it's all good for
Yeah, yeah.
Okay.
Thank you.
So let me repeat, an entrepreneur is a person who starts a business to create value for others by solving problems. That is the real outcome of an entrepreneur. Now, what is business? Business is nothing but exchange of value. So when you give money, that is currency value. When you buy a product, the product gives you value to solve. Let's say you buy a mosquito mat, right? So basically the value is that it's a functional value is it's going to kill mosquitoes and protect you from mosquitoes. So that is the benefit or the functional value you're getting from the product. And to get that value, you're willing to exchange it for money. So business is exchange of value. The more value we create, the more are people willing to pay money to buy that value. So entrepreneurship is how do you create more and more value? How do you create more value than your competition so that people buy your products? So the name game of a business is exchange of value. An entrepreneur is a person who creates this value, right? So all the humans that we saw have left an indelible mark in our lives. Anytime we use any product, we know that there is some entrepreneur who saw value and created that for us. This comfort that we enjoy, all this is created by an entrepreneur who thought new, who thought to solve a problem and create this valuable comfort. They added newer and newer dimensions to value. But the most important thing of entrepreneurship is when a person opens a business of their own, they create jobs and they create wealth for the country, because the national wealth is calculated as the quantum of goods and services produced in the country. And therefore, entrepreneurship plays a very, very important role. It creates jobs, it creates wealth, and therefore the government, knowing this, has started Startup India with more than 31,000 crores as its seed fund. So now let us see. We saw who's an entrepreneur. You saw a couple of successful entrepreneurs who have created history in our country. And now I would like all of you to tell me, what are the traits or what are the personality aspects of some of these entrepreneurs? Think of any successful entrepreneur in your life and tell me one trait that impressed you, right? You think this is the trait that put them on to the road of success. Discipline, okay. Perseverance, yes. Risk taking, definitely.
Identifying client needs.
Definitely, identifying client needs. It's very important that you identify the real need. What if you assume there is a need? Many times we assume there is a need. So we need to do that research, get out of the building and do that research and check, yes, is this problem real, right? That's very, very important. Otherwise, we think it's a problem. Maybe it's not even a problem. Maybe it doesn't even require the product. So it's very important that we have proof of concept, POC as it's called, where you go out, talk to them and get enough proof that yes, this is a real problem. You have enough proof that this is the product that you want. Very good. Okay. Anything else?
Time management.
Yes, time management, they really need to do a whole lot of things, right? You need 1,000 hands. Male or female, I just got this picture, so you need to do a lot of
Problem solving skills.
Problem solving skills, yes, definitely. The ability to think new, to solve the problem in a different way, definitely, yes. Okay, one more. Okay, so here are some traits. They are very, very practical, because it's important that you don't live in a dream. If you see successful entrepreneurs, they're very, very grounded to earth, right? They know this is there. You can't do it. They face it. And if it's a failure, they take it in their stride. They don't sit, oh, failure ho gaya, and they don't sit, right? They get up and run, and that is perseverance, right? They are leaders because they're able to convince other people about their vision and take them and form a team. No single person is successful. Please remember that. A single person gets an idea, but it is a team that takes a business to become successful. And therefore, they should be a visionary where they should be able to motivate people to see their dream and feel the dream and join them in making their dream a reality. Obviously, they'll be risk takers, and their enthusiasm is really infectious, and they get everybody around them build up with excitement to build that new company, and they are very, very confident, passionate and optimistic. They face a lot of challenges for money, for time, and the ability to say, I want to do everything. You have to let go and let other people do some things. And of course, your own doubts. Am I doing the right thing? Every time there's a failure, you think, oh, am I on the right track? So these are all the challenges that go in their mind. I would like to discuss a small part of Reid Hoffman, the co-founder of LinkedIn. He's written a book called The Startup of You, right? He says it's no longer expected that you'll find a job. You need to create a job for yourself. It's really difficult these days to get a job, right? So therefore, you need to create a job for yourself. And he says, you need to find a way to add value in a way no one else can, right? You have to be different. You need to differentiate or die. That now goes for all of us. So even if you're if you're an entrepreneur, you need to be different. Your product needs to have that add value. I'll just come to what is add value. But even Hoffman says, not only a business, but even an individual should definitely keep adding value to us. So don't think that if you just finish a degree or you've had this experience, right? I know everything types. There has to be a continuous learning. This is for the individual in you. You need to constantly, in fact, if you see my adage and in my principle for Wise Owl Consultancy is learn, unlearn, learn. Which means you definitely don't think if you learn one thing that this is the end of all, because there would be someone who would always find another way of doing it cheaper, faster and better. So you need to be constantly learning. And if you don't learn, right, your mind becomes stagnant, and Alzheimer's, which comes in old age, comes very, very fast. So therefore, to keep your mind active, one of the ways is to constantly engage in newer learning. That way, your mind is regenerated and you will be able to think new things, right? All humans are entrepreneurs, not because they can start companies, but because to create new thinking is encoded in their DNA. Only we can think new, right? So in fact, they say nowadays robots can do anything, right? Today we have robots to do everything, and robotics is going to take over. Artificial intelligence is there. So what can humans do? The only thing that humans can do is to think newer and newer ways to do things. So don't let go that ability, because if you do let go that creative ability, then the robots will take us over, right? Like Chitty did. So here's what we're going to see what an entrepreneur does is create value. I'll start off with an example of Phanindra Sama. Phanindra Sama and his friends in 2006 decided to go home for Diwali. And at that time, the buses were all haywire, private buses. The state bus stand did not have a ticket. And these guys did not know where the private buses stop, where the private buses will have tickets even if they stop, and so on and so forth. And after a lot of confusion, they went back empty-handed back to the room without having to spend Diwali with their parents. And therefore, they said how well it'll be if we can see all the buses that ply between Bangalore and Hyderabad in the palm of our hand. And from therein was born the app Red Bus. Now Red Bus, today all of us just whip up our phone. Do any of us ever go to the bus stand to buy a ticket? No. Even if we want to buy a ticket and our phone doesn't work, we'll borrow our friend's phone to see whether it's working. Otherwise, if the server is down, okay, I'll wait for some time and then work. But we'll never ever think of going to the bus stand to book the ticket, right? So here was a real problem, and Phanindra and his team added such a great benefit. The ability to book a ticket, know where the bus is coming, where the bus is going, where you can get down, what are the stages and stops of the buses, and everything in the click of your hand. And that was a pioneering moment which added great value, and so much of traveling problems of people was totally washed away. So he created great value. So people are willing to pay money and download this app and book the bus tickets from here. So that brings us to the crux of entrepreneurship. Solving problems creates value, and this value can be exchanged for currency value through business. So an entrepreneur creates value. What is value? Now you can download this from bing.com, bing.com. This is called as a value pyramid. These are some of the values that entrepreneurs create. Why is this not coming? Okay. I'm going to read it out to you. So at the bottom of the pyramid are functional values that product and services create. For example, saving time, saving effort, like your washing machine, right? So you can use the time to do something else, and your hard work, your physical efforts are reduced. Simplifies a task, which means you like your cut, snip, mix, right? All your ready to eat, ready to mix, simplifies the task. Your ginger garlic paste, you just need to put that paste there. Making money, obviously the ability to make more and more money is for a B2B. If you suppose I give a software to a restaurant and say use this digitalized menu and you will get more people to come to you, obviously more people, more money, and therefore you'll be interested. Reducing risk, like for example a pressure cooker, the safety gasket, right? So the safety gasket, if it helps you from the cooker from not bursting, so that creates a great value. Jo BB se kare pyar kaise kare inkar, that's the advertisement for prestige. Organizer, obviously the calendar app which in your phone, which organizes and gives you reminders about your appointments. Integrate your cell phone, right? Your mobile phone integrates so many things, right? Your camera, your thing. Today the mobile phone is so much that you can take the fetal heartbeat using your mobile phone app, and if you're having a heart attack and you're going to die, that time also you can take a ECG with a mobile app. And that is what the power of mobile is doing now. So you can see that it is integrated a whole lot of technology, and everything is available at the palm of your hand. Connect. If I say the great value connect, then of course Facebook, it connected you to your old friends, schoolmates, exes, etc. You can look at connect as any of the social media today. They connect you, Twitter, Bumble, all those things, right? So quality, of course, and variety are all great values to create. Sensory appeal, that which appeals to your nose, ears, all your food smells or your perfume smells, the touch of your bed sheets which are satin, the finish of the walls of paint which is like satin finish. All these are sensory appeals, and they also create great value. Last but not the least, under functional value, we have informs, and that is Google. I no need to say anything more. Google has actually become a verb. So information and the ability to give you all the information required at the touch of your finger is basically what Google's value is. There are, again, these are functional values, but there are also emotional benefits that come from product and services. For example, reducing anxiety. See, for example, the fact that I can track my courier, or the fact that I can track my daughter in the Ola cab or the Uber cab helps me to reduce my anxiety about the safety of my child. Of course, rewards me is a great benefit, all your cash backs, etc. Wellness, nostalgia. Nostalgia is where it takes you back down your memory lane. Design and aesthetics. Now all of you buy iPhone because the design is so sleek. In fact, Steve Jobs introduces MacBook Air. It's so thin that it can go into the envelope of the office. That's what he says. Fun and entertainment is an amazing value, especially during lockdown. All of us are caught on to our mobile games, OTT platforms where we watch a lot of movies. So fun and entertainment is a great value driver. So today there are many businesses which thrive on creating entertainment, and therefore they are one of the, during lockdown, the biggest companies to grow were the gaming companies, right? So besides this, of course, there is a lot of life-changing, values that create, for example, providing hope, right? So some of the vaccines, like your COVID vaccines, give you hope that you will not get COVID, right? You hope that you will not die from COVID. Motivation, so your gym, some gyms actually, you have your gym sir or your yoga teacher who motivates you and changes the way you live and the way you eat, etc. So all these are some of the values that you get. Last but not the least is self-transcendence, like the Tatas, Birlas, Reliance, where they work at providing value to the society and the country at large. So these are some values, not all, but some values that are created by solving problems, right? So if you look, I'm going in, it's very important that you do something new, innovation, and therefore you are able to create more and more value by innovating, right? For example, in all the pizzas, Domino's said, I'm going to deliver the pizza in half an hour or the pizza is free for you. They were the first one to start this, right? And today, the delivery means you always know it is Domino's and nobody else, right? If you talk about newer designs, of course, you have Reed-to-Berry and the plasma television, which came to be so thin that it will stick to the wall. And if you're looking at a brand value where you talk about quality and a status, then of course Rolex watches always come to your mind. So that's a value they create. And we look at price, Nirma Nano car by Tata's at 1 lakh. They're very clear. They said this car will come at 1 lakh to you, right? Cost reduction. Nirma, of course, Nirma is the detergent which came at 8 rupees when Surf was selling at 13 rupees. Cost reduction, of course, you look at the Big Bazaar and the Reliance Fresh where they have this really cheap costs are reduced because they are down rock bottom retail prices. Risk reduction, like lot of guarantees and warranties and say we'll take back your product. In fact, one of the largest companies in the world, one of the first movers in shoe e-commerce, right? Shoes is shoebyte.com, but today it's called Zappos. Zappos is shoes in Spanish. So Zappos is one of the largest retailers of shoes online, right? And one of the things that they really is the risk that the shoe may not fit you, the color may not suit you. They have a 360-degree wapas back, which means they take back the product without any questions asked, right? So these are some of the ways in which you can create more value. Accessibility, the ability to go, like, the low-cost airlines opened up the skies for middle-class people, right? Convergence, where all technologies converge, like your iPhone, right? So all these are some of the values that are created. But there are sometimes, is it really worth creating such values, like a lock for your ice cream? Now, these are called Shingudu innovations in Japan. So a toaster where you can see how brown your bread is, or a butter stick which you can put on your bread. You don't have to keep, like a glue stick. And a self-stirring cup which can stir the sugar by itself, right? And of course, a laptop for you to sleep, and the dog. And if you have a puppy, you know how they wet and poodle. The lipstick which you can put in the taxi or in your moving bus without spreading all over, and the baby who crawls all over and does your cleaning also, and water harvesting taken to a totally new level. Now these are all new innovations. They solve the problems, but are they commercial? That's a question that we need to ask, right? Can they be commercially viable? Now commercially viable is where you actually run the business, sell it and keep selling it, and sustain and run the business for a very, very long time, right? So here is some very interesting Jugaad innovations from India. Now this is very much akin to India. These are basically ways in which we solve problems in a way that is very unique in India. It is very cheap and it is available and easily doable, and it is available to the masses, which is the large number of people. So for example, you want to hold your laptop behind while you cook, so that's a belt that holds it. So that's an old car which is turned into a swing, and the mudguard is your old chappals. And this is a great mixer. You don't have to pay for the Jaguar and all those things. And torchlight in your school bike, and of course an easier way to carry so many people. So we saw a lot of innovations, we saw a lot of entrepreneurs. So what is the e-spirit? It means that you need to have and build. To start a business, you require to have knowledge, you need to build that knowledge and acquire the skills. But most important is the fact that you need people skills, right? The ability to talk to people, the ability to convince people, the ability to make sure that they all understand your vision and bring them with you, right? So one of the biggest assets and traits for an entrepreneur is the interpersonal skills, where they are having people skills and they are great at networking. So if you want to become an entrepreneur, you need to imbibe these qualities. Imbibe means what? You need to learn these and inculcate in your behavioral patterns, which means you need to acquire knowledge, like attending this workshop where you're going to acquire knowledge and skills of an entrepreneur. Then you need to now network within this group, find new friends, and cross learn from one another, and of course looking and understanding ethics and character. So gather this knowledge, identify your own strengths and weaknesses, and build your weak skills consciously and enhance your strong skills. Identify opportunities. Now that is where it's very important. You should be able to spot a problem and look at solutions for it. For this, you need to read a lot. You need to take up challenges. You need to create value. You need to have a commitment for a long time and study the problem 360 degrees, right? It's just not take and solve. You need to take and solve the problem 360 degrees so that you create a sustaining, that is a long lasting. It should not be a flash in the pan. Like it's raining, so I'm giving you an umbrella. It's a fact that I'm teaching you not give a fish because you're hungry, but I have to teach you how to fish so that you can fish every time you're hungry, right? So that is very important. So you need to look out for problems and discover opportunities, how to solve these problems. Now, if you are ready to be an entrepreneur, what are you going to do? Right? So it's not enough that you develop and think like an entrepreneur only to become an entrepreneur. You can also think like this in order that you become an intrapreneur, which means you are a working professional. So today, if you get a job in a company, then too, you can think like an entrepreneur, and then you're called as an intrapreneur, right? So it's very important that both ways, thinking entrepreneurially is going to help you, whether you start your own business or if you get a job and work for another entrepreneur, it doesn't matter. The ability to solve problems in a newer way and add value is what an entrepreneurial skill and thinking is. The ability to solve problems by creating solutions which are innovative is called an entrepreneurial mindset. And if that mindset is there, you can start your own business or work for another person, but you'll definitely find a lot of successes. You should be wanting, you should be willing, and you should definitely be in a beta mode. Beta mode is always in ready to adapt to newer changes. Like I said, always be in a learning mode, in an ability to say, I have not done it, I will do it, I will be doing it, right? You need to build in your competencies. Now, here are some of the unicorns. We have more than 42 unicorns in our country now, which has a valuation of more than 1 billion. Today, we have a lot of entrepreneurs, and I would, in the MSME, micro, small, medium enterprises. So these are very important. The MSME sector is given a priority sector, just like agriculture in our constitution and by our government. And therefore, we have a lot of traditional and new, right? So some of the new ones are leveraging on internet, and we have software as a service like your Book My Show, Make My Trip, e-commerce, etc. And we also have biotechnology companies, translations, smart furnitures. And today, post-COVID, there is a new normal, right? So we have contactless dining. Whoever thought a hotel will have contactless dining? Today we have cloud kitchens, right? Today we have work from home. We have virtual education. No longer our university is going to be red brick buildings. They're going to become, totally fragmented and virtual. And we have virtual pets. We have home parties. We have bhajans which happen across on virtual. We have stores where we on a 3D, dimension, and on a VR, AR scale, we can actually take an avatar, get into the mall. Again, in the mall is also in the software. Get into it and actually shop, buy it, and get it delivered at home. Sanitizers, robotics today, robots, and in fact drones are very big thing. In just yesterday I read that Dubai has used drones to cloud seed and get rain. So we are using drones in agriculture, we are using, Amazon uses drones for delivery. So all these are going to be the next. There are going to be 4 important technologies that's going to rule the world. SMAC. Yes stands for social media. If you do not have an Aadhaar card, Aadhaar card is what you have, an identity for yourself in the national level. You have Udyog Aadhaar, which is your business registration. So whenever you start a company, you need to get a Udyog Aadhaar. So you register it with the district industry center and Department of Industries. So there you get one more Udyog Aadhaar. The third Aadhaar card you should get is, of course, your internet Aadhaar card, which is nothing but your social account in Facebook, Twitter, Instagram, name it, you should be there. Blog, vlogs, everything. So today social media is going to be the next way people are going to learn about you. M stands for mobile, right? If your business is not on mobile, it's as good as dead. So somewhere your business has to be connected to mobile. A stands for analytics, because there's a whole lot of data that's going to be crisscrossing. Even if you're an ordinary beauty parlor and you say, oh, what have I got to do with IT and technology? Everything. You need a WhatsApp account, you need to keep your accounts on tally. So there will be a lot of things, and therefore analytics of the data is very, very important. You need to understand what you have. So much of data, what are you understanding? Have I made some profits? Who are my frequent customers? How many times do my customers frequent me? So all these information can be had by analyzing the data that you have got. C stands for cloud, and that is for storage of data, because as data becomes more and more, we need to store it in cloud. So cloud technologies. So these are the 4 important technologies that are going to really drive the businesses. And so let's look at, what is the process for starting a business, right? So obviously it starts off with ideation, defining the problem. 360 degrees, you need to study the problem. Spend at least a good 1 month studying whether the problem is real, and then try and ideate a lot of innovative solutions to that problem. Look at existing solutions and see what are the solutions that can be faster, better with the knowledge that you have. So obviously it's very important that you do a lot of proofing your concept. Now, proof of concept is where you validate what you're thinking is true or not. So you assume a lot, right? For example, you assume your friend would like to have a mobile phone for his birthday, so you buy a mobile phone and present it. He says, oh, thank you, but I actually wanted a camera, something like that, right? So you find that you know the person very well, you may or may not be able to gauge. And here you are building a product and expecting people to take out money from their pocket, pay for it and buy it. So it's better before you start building it, you actually test it out, right? And test out is go talk to 40-50 people and ask them, do you really think it's a pain, right? Now that's what Zappos did. Nick Swinburne and Jose, both of them actually went and took photos of shoes from regular shoe shops in the bazaar, created a website, put all the photos of these shoes and said, we are selling this online. And they said, if 50 of them get sold, then we have a great business. Otherwise, let's say a no. So you need to be very harsh. You have to take a decision, yes or no, right? So you can't assume that it will run, chalega, by and by it will catch. You're putting so much of money, time, efforts, and not only yours, but everybody else's. So therefore, it's important that you make yourself doubly sure that your idea or your concept works. You had a concept that people will buy shoes online. How do you prove it? So they set about doing this. When they found that a lot of people were interested and were buying shoes online, that's when they actually created Zappos and built it big. So if you look at Phanindra Sama and Red Bus, he was wondering, will people buy bus tickets online or they will only buy it directly? So what he did, he and his team, is they bought 10 tickets from all the private players with their own money and then started selling it, right? Because the bus guys refused to give tickets and said, if it sells, you give me money. If it doesn't sell, I'll keep the tickets. No. Though they were not selling tickets, but they were not willing to give it even up in the open. So these guys had to actually buy 10 tickets from each of the private players and then put it online and then sell it and make money. And those that didn't sell, these ran into a loss for a couple of months. Again, to prove to themselves that before they actually build a platform, people actually would buy tickets online, bus tickets online, right? So that is market research and validation. And you need to evaluate your idea. So not only on this, you need to evaluate your idea. Is it a great idea for a business? You need to see if there is a market. Is it a flash in the pan market, or is it a sustainable market that will run for a long time? You need to check whether you are better than your competition, and is your competition making money, and can you make more money than them? No, you are not here for charity, right? You need to also sustain yourself and cover your costs and make profits. Otherwise, you won't be motivated to work. If you are a social enterprise, it's a different ball game altogether. You're looking at beneficiaries. But if you're in commercial business, it's important you create value and you create money for yourself too, right? Now, once you do this and you create a prototype of the product, you need to frame a business model and say, okay, am I going to do this online? Am I going to do this offline? Am I going to do it both? How am I going to model my business, right? And then you need to write your business plan. Once you decide on, okay, I'm going to do all this online only, then you're going to make a plan and write it down in a document which is called as the Detailed Business Report, DBR, or a business plan, which is nothing but a document that writes out for the next 5 years, how are you going to start and run your business? Then you pitch this to lot of people, whether it is to investors to put money for you, or to new partners so that they join you, to the suppliers if they're going to join you and supply raw materials to you. So you need to pitch your idea. So you need to prepare a pitch deck, a PowerPoint presentation also. Once you finish all this, you have to start getting into action, which is execution. Now let us look at, I already talked to all this, and validation of your assumptions, and then evaluate your business idea and look at newer and models of business, right? Whether you're going to do a brick and mortar, are you going to create a platform where many people can come and go? These are all various business models that we're talking. Are you going to be a hyper local like Swiggy, which does, delivers to you to your doorstep? That's called hyper local. Are you looking at a social impacts like a social enterprise and all that? So the first 10 steps to do a startup is, after you understand and drop your business plan, you need to execute the business model, find the money, find the investment, find a team, register your company, and what structure, is it a partnership, a company, etc. Open a bank account, register with a local incubator. That's very important for you to network furiously. That's very important. Be on all the startup meetings. Get yourself a mentor, very important. Choose the location from where you're going to work. Apply for schemes that are relevant. There are a lot of schemes galore from various ministries. Make sure you apply for that, and keep track of your cash and accounts. Very important. Don't say, I'm a technical guy, I'm a super guy at artificial intelligence, but I don't know anything about accounts. Make sure you get a friend of yours to do some accounts for you. And don't forget, definitely create a digital presence for yourself in the social media even before you start your business. So these are the 10 steps, and I'm now ready for questions. Yes, can you hear me? Hello?
Any queries from participants? You can even type in the text box.
No questions.
All clear? Everything clear?
Anybody want to ask me anything on entrepreneurship? Or can I ask you, why did you come for this course? What is any of your intentions? Now, I don't want compliments. I want to know, what about agro industry, ma'am? Oh, yes. Durga Prasad, agro industries are very, very, very upcoming. And today we have a whole lot of agro startups. You have these drones, you have these automatic irrigation systems, and you have a whole lot of commerce like your crop farm, and all these guys today, farm to table models. These are really big, where you take, there's a one farm, one cow milk. So there are newer and newer versions of agro startups which are coming. So yes, it's very big thing. Now, if you look at Sri Devi, ma'am, can you please? Thank you. So we are looking at agro startups, and today we have different kinds of agro startups. Today we have enzymes which are there and which help the production yields to grow bigger. We have ozone created water and moisture in green grass. So there is a whole, today there's a packaging, very big packaging peels, bio pastes that come on fruits and vegetables, so that fruits don't get decayed. You have specialized packing that packs and keeps flowers fresh for a long time. So you have newer technologies that are happening. Cold storage is the next biggest business to be in agro, and all this you're going to get huge grants from the Ministry of Agriculture. I'm personally attached to one grant which is called Raftar, which is RJKY, which gives 5 lakhs for an innovative idea that can boost farmers, and 25 lakhs if you want to scale up an innovative agro company. Please look it up. Raftar, it's called RAFTAAR. Yes, any other questions? Hi, Nandita. Good to see you after a long time.
Hi, ma'am. Hi. Hello. How are you?
Doing good.
Good to see you too. Yep.
Yes, any other questions?
So if there are no questions, then I think we can close the first session.
Yep. Thank you. Thank you very much, and thank you for the opportunity.
So thank you so much, ma'am. Our next speaker is Madam Nandita Sethi. Welcome to you, ma'am.
Thank you, sir. Thank you.
So we have participants, which is mix of students, faculty members, innovators. We even have some startup founders.
Great.
Yeah. So I'll just quickly introduce the profile of Madam Nandita Sethi. Dr. Nandita Sethi is a founder and MD of the Entrepreneur Zone, which is called TES, which is an entrepreneurship development center and a startup accelerator, providing mentorship and consultancy to startups and businesses. She has a doctorate in international economics, and in her 30 years of experience, she has trained several top and mid-management levels on global markets, business environment, corporate reforms, marketing trends, strategy and leadership, entrepreneurship and intrapreneurship. She has authored a book, The Asia Pacific Region, Emerging Opportunities for India, and edited the books, Global Meltdown, Regional Impacts and Rethinking India's Growth Strategy, Services versus Manufacturing. Since 2015, she is mentoring and consulting startups and budding entrepreneurs through her organization TES, which runs programs to help startups and SMEs. She is a mentor for TIE, GIT, ISB, TEP, CII, IWN, University of Hyderabad, ICRISAT, T-Hub, V-Hub, etc. She has been awarded the TIE Best Mentor Award during 2016-17 in the TIE ISB Connect and Confederation of Women Entrepreneurs Excellence Award in March 2021 and 50 Top Women Achievers Award by T-Hub on 8th March 2022. She is a past chairperson of CII Indian Women Network from 2019 to 20 at Telangana, which helps women professionals and entrepreneurs. She is also a TEDx speaker. Her organization, TES, has been adjudged as a top 10 startup consultant organization in India, according to Silicon India, November 2016-17. Many startups have taken mentorship from TES and have launched their businesses. Today, her mission is to integrate entrepreneurship training deeply into the existing educational system so that we see more startup activities on campuses and create a culture and thinking which is highly entrepreneurial. So, welcome, ma'am.
Thank you so much. Thank you.
So, I request ma'am to please take over and start the session.
Sure. Thank you so much. And very happy and glad to be here. Long association with this university as well as the incubator right from its inception. So happy to be here. Welcome you all to the session. And is this the first day?
Yes, ma'am.
Yes, ma'am. First day, second session.
First day, second session. Okay. So great. I was just hearing Radhika ma'am. She's a great inspiration to all of us and amazing teacher, mentor. And I think we've all learned a lot from her. So following up from there, I think it's his first day, but the topic is a little, I think a lot of you are startup founders as well. So many of you must have already gone into what is the business plan and would be knowing it. And a lot of you may be very fresh in understanding what's a business plan and how does one go about. So what I'm going to do today is I'm going to share with you how do you make a business plan. And this is basically used for, either you use it for operations within the company, that means you're doing it for your internal stakeholders, or you create a business plan, especially in startups, the business plan is created for showing it to investors so as to raise funds. Funding is one of the most important parts for every startup founder, because at some point or the other you need funding, and whether you need it or not, and even if you are growing organically, it is a simplified, structured way to starting up. And therefore every startup SME, I mean, when you're getting into business, you must have a business plan in place. Okay, that's like the blueprint for your business. That's your roadmap, guide map. Even if you make a wall outside, you always have to have a, some kind of a blueprint of how much will your foundation be, how much. So the Maestri will do all that. So you have to think like that you are actually building a business for which you need a blueprint. And that blueprint is called as the business plan. So we'll go into point wise. Let's go into what are the components that are there and why should we look at a business plan? How should we look at it and how should we create it? Okay. Everybody okay? My pace is fine with all of you? Just give me a thumbs up or say hello. Yes. All fine? Yes. Okay. Yeah. Give me a minute. Just let me share a presentation. Yep. Yeah. Let me know if you are able to see it.
Yes, ma'am. Able to.
You're able to see it, right?
Yeah. Yes, ma'am.
Yeah.
Yes.
I will keep asking you in between because I want to have the feel of being, talking to people and not to my computer screen. So just keep giving me reactions in the middle. Okay. Okay. Yeah. So what we're going to do today is we're going to look at what is a business plan, what is its purpose, okay? And what are the rules of writing a business plan. We'll look at an outline of a business plan and I'll give you an example of a winning plan. And maybe our time will be short, so we will run it fast. And maybe the winning plan part will give you a YouTube link. You can watch it there. So what is a business plan? So if you look at it in its very simplest form, you can say that it is a guide, a roadmap, and it outlines the different components of your business. Okay. So why do we make the business plan in the first place? If you don't have this, you would be completely uncertain as to where your business is going and if it goes, if something is not going right, you should be able to go back and look at something and say, okay, we didn't do this, so this is what is happening. So it is a blueprint, and it is something which breaks down the uncertainty of business. Every business is uncertain, there's a risk involved, but you can minimize the risk and you can break down the uncertainty by putting them into bits and pieces, like a sales, like a financial planning, like an operational planning, a marketing plan. So once you have it all on paper, that is very important for you to go by it. Now, it doesn't mean that your business plan is not going to change at all. It is going to change as the business keeps changing and growing, and as everything else changes, the business plan will also change, but you must have it in the first place. So having a business plan in the first place makes it easy for you to structure your business and go in a structured fashion. And so therefore, to look back and see whether whatever you projected that you are going to grow in this way, and you're going to have this kind of traction, all that you can be measuring it against your business plan, and also the way forward because you have a business plan. Okay, so business plan basically its purpose can be twofold. Like I said, one is you are making it for internal stakeholders, that is people within the company. It could be employees, it could be vendors, it could be partners that you partner with in business. So anyone, when you're looking out for people to associate with your business, they may want to see what is this business that we are associating, whether it's an employee or it's a partner or a vendor also. So for them, we make a business plan. Even if we are not going for funding, we will have to have this plan. But most of the startups, and I guess that's what most of you are here, will always make a business plan keeping in mind external stakeholders, and these stakeholders are normally the investors in the company. So we will look at the business plan more today from the investor point of view. Now, the business plan can be in like a summary form, say 10 to 15 pages, or you can have a a full business plan, let's say 25 to 35 pages, or an operational plan 40 to 100 pages. But today's world, I think a full business plan also should be around 20-25 pages and not to exceed, because nobody has the time to read too much. The focus is going to be on the important information that you put in the business plan. So therefore, focus on that and keep it as short and sweet as possible. So what should the focus for a startup be when they are making a business plan? Obviously, when investors are looking at you, or even partners are looking at you to partner with you, so then at that point of time, obviously what they want to know about is, what is this company about? What is their product and service? Are they the right people to do this? And is the product coming out at the right time or no? So these are very important things. Why? Because a lot depends on what segment you are operating in, what kind of product or service you're coming, or is it the right time? You must have heard of so many examples where people came up with businesses either too ahead of time or too after time, and either way it did not work for them. For example, just to make it more interesting, for example, YouTube that probably we are using today, there were at least 5 to 6 live streaming platforms that came up even before YouTube, but they never could make it as famous as YouTube. Why? Because they came in too early when the internet speeds were quite low, and so therefore, and also the internet penetration was low and the speeds were low. So therefore, when people actually try to look at those live streaming platforms, they won't run smoothly and they would keep buffering. So somehow people lost interest and they just sat put until the YouTube came, and that was the right timing for YouTube, because when YouTube came, the speeds were just right for them to watch a live streaming platform. So, I mean, that's just one example to tell you. So anytime when you're presenting your business plan, make sure that what you're putting into the plan is focusing on your product, your service, the people behind it, because people invest in people. We don't invest really in ideas, because ideas are plenty around. It is the people who take the idea forward. So the richness of the team in terms of their background, their experience, their expertise, this is all going to be very important on a business plan. And also very clearly coming out with what have you done so far. That means what we call as what is the traction you have achieved. That means you have incorporated the company, you have already onboarded 1 or 2 customers, and you have reached a certain level of sales, whatever. So put all that into it just to show where you have reached and what your product is really going to do in terms of giving the benefits to the customer, society, or the country. Okay, so that's about the focus. Now let's go one by one. Am I going fine? Give me a yes, no.
Fine, ma'am.
Yes, ma'am.
All okay? Yeah. Okay. So what should a business plan basically contain? Okay. So I've broken it down into like a title page, just telling you the entire thing, the table of contents. The first starting point is in content is the executive summary and a straight, simple fact sheet about the company, incorporation date, how many employees, what is the revenue reached so far. If you haven't, then just put whatever information at a glimpse. Okay. Then you have the body of the plan. In the body of the plan, we will do all these things. That means they're almost like 10 or so points that we will have to cover entirely. So we look at the description of the company, the product, the industry, which is very important, the industry in which you're working, the market analysis, what kind of a market are you into, the marketing plan, that means your marketing plan, sales and marketing plan, your operational plan, your team, composition of your team, and milestones and metrics. That means what are your milestones and what are the metrics that you have achieved. All those things you have to put up in the plan, and of course your financial plan. Then we go to the last part of the business plan, which is appendices. Everything which seems to be extra information and which you do not want to put in the body because it disrupts the flow of reading of the business plan. Something like you have a patent, so you will mention in the body applied for patent, and all the details of the application of patent pending you can put in your appendices. Similarly, you have some advisory board member who is very well known, or you want to put his profile because you want to show how important this person is. You can put it in the appendices. You might have your bank statements, you might have your whatever extra information to strengthen your case. You can put all of it in the appendices. So this is the title page. I mean, it would look something like this. You write a business plan and you write the name of the venture. You can add a one-liner tagline below it just to give on the first page what this product or service is all about, the company's logo, and add your address, email, etc. Submission date is important, and looks versus content, both are important, of course. Don't undermine the value of the look also. Somebody just gives it in a shabby form. Obviously, the way you present it, the way it is given, that and the content both would be important. Now let's get into the segments of the business plan. So the first section 1 is called as executive summary. This is the soul of the business plan. While this is the soul of the business plan and comes at number 1, section 1, it is in fact written in the end. Why? Because it has to be a summary of the entire business plan. So therefore, after you write the entire plan, you pick out the most important things that an investor would want to see on the first page itself. Before he even takes the risk of opening the second and third pages, he wants to know, is it worth my time or not? So therefore, this is the most important page, the executive summary. That's why we call it the soul, but it is written in the end. It is what is also called as something like your elevator pitch. I don't know if many of you know what is an elevator pitch, but even then, let me just let you know what it is. So it is something that the most important things you would say to anybody whom probably you have been wanting to meet and suddenly find in an elevator. What would you tell to that person in 40 seconds that by the time the elevator lift door opens, the person should actually give his card to you and say, okay, come back and meet me on Monday at so and so time because I feel interested in your product. So what are those things that you would say that somebody in 40 seconds would listen and say, oh, this is interesting, come back to me? That is what you have to put in your executive summary. It's a not just about your product or your business. It is a hard sell. It is anything that you would want to say that you don't want anyone to miss out, like this is the product and this is its usage, these are the sales and this is the market like in the globe and this is what you can do with this product. It's got to come out so compellingly that, you know, in that one page, you must want to say, like I've written down here, ye dil mange more. Now, what does this mean? Okay, this is interesting. I need to open the next page. Okay. So that is what this page or this executive summary should look like. That the investor, remember, has a lot of business plans lying on his table, let us say, or in a computer file. And why would he want to open any if the first summary itself doesn't seem interesting for him? So this is that summary which makes him open the next page and want to read more and know more about the business. Okay. Okay, then coming to the section 2. Here you would go, so your summary would be like 1 page or max. If you want to put in a little bit more, it should not exceed 2 pages. Okay. Then come to section 2, company description. In this, the body, you will probably just go into describing the company. That means its history, description, how did it come about, your mission statement, your product, describe your product and service, the current status, what you are in, you started so long back, today, where are you, your legal status, the way you're incorporated, and ownership, who is the owner, how much ownership, who has. So you will give some details about your business and company, and also any important partnerships that you have. You must say that. Like typically, I will give you examples, like a startup who are being incubated at some point somewhere, like a T Hub would always, or Osmania TBI, let's say, would you have to say that's a partnership, because being in an incubator, the incubator is partnering with you. So take it as a matter of pride and put it up that you're being incubated at TBI, at Osmania, or at T Hub, we have, wherever you're being incubated, or even in a company like incubator, like a Microsoft has an incubator, Google has an incubator. So just, they're all partnering with you in the building of the product or service. So please mention that in this company description. Then coming to product and service, basically you have to explain here. One thing everybody should just remember, what I'm talking today is about a written plan. The other thing is called as the pitch deck. The pitch deck is what you pitch maybe in 10 minutes or so, and that is typically a presentation format. Okay, what I'm talking is a written format. Out of this, you can just pull out and make a pitch deck, and a pitch deck would have much more infographics and less of content, because it's going to be viewed, and the time you would get is max 10 minutes. So here you can go a little long in this, where you can put in a bit more, like I said, 15-20 pages would be fine. So in section 3, you will start off with saying what is the existing problem that you are trying to solve. So you put up the problem. This is what is the problem people have. Like, for example, if you look at most of the business plans of a lot of people, let's say WhatsApp, the founder of WhatsApp was a Ukrainian. And so the problem he was facing was that he used to send emails to his father. He was studying in US, and he used to send emails to his father in Ukraine, and his father would not see his emails for the next 2, 3, 4 days. And so it was very frustrating for him, and important messages wouldn't reach him on time. So he put up, this is the problem I'm facing. And the solution is that if you can send emails, why can't you send messages which can reach instantly? So the solution I'm providing is, this is a gap. This is a problem we face. The messages go, but they take time. They are not received instantly. And therefore, the solution is that we are coming up with something which reaches people instantly. So a problem, a solution. You have to give that clearly in whatever you are doing. Just say, if you are not solving any problem, then really what is this product? It has to be a product which is something like, could be, it is a very high-end product which is not really solving any problem, but is giving some aesthetics to the customer. Whatever it is, you have to put it up in the format like, people want this product, this is the issue, they don't have it, or they have alternatives which don't satisfy them completely. So this is the solution we are giving. That is a very compelling way to start, because there you are hitting at the exact usage of the product, and you're also hitting at the target group who has the problem. So you must bring it out with clarity. Okay. When you come up with the solution, obviously you are bringing the value proposition for the customer. That means you're saying that this is the value we give you, like this product, what you're using, already you're using it, but it doesn't have these features. So you bring out what is the value you're bringing, or you say it is costly, so I'm coming up with the same version at a much cheaper level, or you say my product is much faster. So normally we say cheaper, this is the mantra, we'll go by mantras. We say cheaper, faster, better. Either your product should be cheaper than the existing one, faster or better. So you bring out with clarity what your product does. And you can be just one of them, or you can be all three. Even if you are just cheaper, people will buy you. You're faster, people will buy you. You're better, people will definitely buy you. So come up with a value proposition. And in your value proposition, make one thing sure. Normally what happens is, when we come up with a product or service, we try to please everybody. Like, oh, my product does this and this and this and this. Actually, we think that we are giving so many solutions to customers, but no. The customer is looking for a focused solution, and therefore in your business plan, or in your business, don't try to please everybody. Look at a very focused segment to which you can target your product. And you will be amazed to see that when you're focused and giving a solution which is very focused to a certain segment, your people buy it immediately. The moment you say that my product does A, B, C, D, E, then they look at you as if you do everything, you're all over, and you're not specialized in anything. That's the point. But if you come up and say my product does only this and is focused on this, more people understand and like it, because they know you are specialized only in that. You can grow the company slowly later and keep adding products, but when you're starting up, be very focused. Like, for example, the best example I can give you is Amazon. When they started, they were only focused on books. Amazon and Flipkart both were known only for books. They were selling only books. But look at them today. After so many years, they have become what we say a startup ecosystem. They have become a business ecosystem where they do everything. But that is, you have to reach that position. When you start, you have to be very focused. Okay, and make sure you put that in your business plan. Section 4. Just 1 second. Yeah. So what you can do in section 3 is to make it easy for people to remember. You can always add taglines, or your value propositions can also look like taglines. There's a difference between the two, but I'm just giving you a few taglines which make people remember the product. Like, for example, Uber. So Uber is not a travel app. It is the smartest way to get around. It's not a travel service, sorry. It's a technology platform, please remember. So their tagline is the smartest way to get around. That means you can always get around. There are enough travel services, but Uber is the smartest way to get around, because it's a technology platform which gives you the value and comfort of getting a cab at home at reasonable prices and within a very short period of time. So they're giving you that value. The Apple iPhone says the experience is the product. You don't have to buy the product and use it to experiences. The product, having the product itself is an experience. Okay. So like this, you have so many taglines and you can read them. For example, M&M, melts in your mouth, not in your hands. What are they trying to say? They're trying to say that the other chocolates melt in the hand and in the bags, but ours only melts in the mouth. New York Times, all the news that's fit to print, again saying that others are not fit to be print, but we print only that's fit to be print. I love this Maybelline. it says maybe she's born with it, maybe it's Maybelline. So it's like we can't even make out whether she's using makeup or she is without it, because it's so natural. So in this way, this taglines, whether you put it up on the cover page or you add it with your value proposition, it really adds on to giving a flavor to your product. Then section 4 of the business plan should be your industry analysis. Now this is very, very important. Why is this so? Because the investor wants to always see what kind of an industry is it that you are in, and is there a large enough market for you, and how many players are there in the market, what kind of a structure is the market, this whole industry. So you got to see this in terms of the bigness, the industry size, at what rate is the industry growing. So if it's an industry which is declining, then, and you're getting into such an industry, no investor will like to invest in you, because very soon your money will not get multiplied, but it'll start decreasing, because it's a falling industry for whatever reason. Either the technology has got old, or the product is completely going out, because either we have disrupted it with something completely different. So for whatever reason, or the product is getting commoditized. That means something like when the internet age started, creating websites was a very big thing. So the .com bubble and all that came up because of that, because it was a booming industry. So those who got in first actually made the bug. But if you look at today, and if you say I'm going to start a business in making websites, it's already commoditized. You have platforms where you can make your own website as well. So if you're getting into such an industry, who would want to fund you? No. So the size of the industry, the rate at which the industry is growing, and the projections of sales in that industry, how big the market is globally, and so on, you've got to see all that. Then you look at the structure. Is the industry dominated by few big daddies who are sitting there, and they don't probably, they are the leadership positions already? And what have been their key success factors? Can those success factors be replicated by new entrants? These are things that they will see, and the long-term prospects. So bring out the industry size and structure very clearly, and projections, because that is what not only investors, even you have to see whether you need to get in such an industry. Am I going fine?
Yes, ma'am. Yes, ma'am.
Okay. Okay. Shall I proceed, or any questions at this point?
No, ma'am. Yes.
Shall I proceed?
Yes.
Shall I go ahead?
Yes, ma'am.
The questions in the end. Okay.
Yeah.
Okay. So section 5 is called as market analysis. Okay. This is industry is the larger industry. Larger industry, the entire industry globally and all that. And there may be many more things in the industry. Like, for example, if I'm talking about, let's say you're coming up with a very special toothpaste. So the dental care industry would be the industry you're operating in. But market analysis would be just looking at the toothpaste in the market. What kind of a market is this? So you are looking at in what kind of a market segment are you getting in? That means, are you in the high-end market segment? Who are your target customers? And what are the buyer behaviors in your segment? So when you do a market analysis, you're basically looking at a segment in the market that you are planning to operate in. Like I was giving the example, now you look at the toothpaste industry, and then you will look at buyers' behavior in that industry, and you will look at how many competitors are there in the market, direct competitors you have in the market, and is it a competitive market? Is it a very, what do you say, oligopolistic market, monopolistic market? What kind of a market are you operating in? That is what is seen in a market analysis. Then in market analysis, another thing which a startup has to put up is, we call them as TAM, SAM, and SOM. So TAM is your total available or addressable market. Everyone you wish to reach with your product, or everyone who can potentially be your customer. Like for example, if you are in a footwear, let's say you are manufacturing women's sports footwear, okay, that's your product, women's sports footwear. But so every woman can potentially be a market for you. So footwear industry is your total addressable market. Okay. Now in that footwear industry, in your total addressable market, women's footwear is your first segment or first segmented market. Let me call it SAM1, women's footwear, out of the total addressable market of footwear industry. So women's footwear will be your segment 1, SAM1, and you can have a SAM2, which is women's sports footwear, now coming to a more segment market. And finally, SOM will be, so if your women's sports footwear market is worth, let us say $50 million or something like that, then you come in this $50 million, what is the share of market you are planning or you feel you can realistically reach? Let's say 5%. So once I start the business, 2% I will start off in the first year, then I go to 5% in the second, third year, and maybe I can reach a 10% by the 5th or 7th year, right? So what I'm trying to say is TAM is the overall addressable market, SAM is the segment in which you are dealing with, okay, that particular segment, and SOM is out of that SAM, how much of the market can you realistically reach is your share of market. So you say I can realistically reach around 5 to 7% in 5 years and around 10% in 10 years, something like that. So that becomes your TAM, SAM, and SOM. Now, what will happen is when you're doing this market analysis, section 5, you, as a part of this market analysis, you will also do a competitor analysis. This is extremely important for business because people want to know the differentiators between you and your competitors and your niche. What is your niche? What is your secret sauce? Why are you different and why should anybody buy you? That is the reason you come up with a competitive matrix. Now, what is a competitive matrix? You will put up, like, let's say you are having a phone, a new phone you have come up with. So you put up feature A, dual camera or triple camera, feature B, so much GB storage, feature C, some design, something feature D, E, you put up. All these something which you have created. Then you compare it with all other cell phones, 6 cell phones are close competitors to you, and you keep putting in these dots. That means my product has feature 8, 3 cameras or so, and 1, 2, 3, and 4, these 4 phones also have it. 5 and 6 don't have it. Feature B, you say my product, basically you put up all your unique features or your features, what you think are saleable, and you compare it with your close competitors, which product has what you put up, and here you put this up and say, these are all the other competitors who have this but don't have this, who have this but don't have the other feature. So this is called as a competitive landscape or a competitive matrix, which you have to put up in your business plan. Then coming to section 6 of the market, section 6 of the business plan. Now you will talk here about what is your overall sales and marketing strategy. So basically, a marketing plan will come up with overall marketing strategy. That means where are you planning to position your product? That means my product is for the middle income group or for the rich group or for the poor income group, whatever your product is. Where is the positioning of your product? Then you talk about a pricing strategy. That means how do you plan to enter the market with what kind of pricing? Typically, there are products which enter like, if I can give you an example, I don't know how many of you remember Dove soap. Now it is common in the market, but when it first came up, the Dove soap, many years back, when every soap was around 20 rupees or so, they came up with a 60 rupee soap at that time, okay, many years back. And people were shocked, like 20, and this is like 3 times more. But then they positioned it not as a soap, they positioned it as a moisturizing, I mean, it takes the place of a moisturizer as well as a soap. So you don't need a moisturizer. So they came up with 3 times the price. Now this kind of a pricing was basically, is called as price skimming, where what you do is you're entering at a high price, positioning that it is a premium product. Probably, you want the we call it as skimming the milk. So you're skimming away the best part of the milk, which is the cream. You want the cream population to buy this product, which is a super rich product. So you enter like that. Okay, you enter and make it like a very premium product. But look at Dove soap today. I mean, like, I think everybody can afford, even the middle income groups can afford it. So that was an entry strategy to make it look like a premium good. And of course, it had all those features also. And then it came. Whereas you can have other pricing strategies, like you enter at a low price. Okay, you enter at a low price. Like, for example, and Uber also did this smartly. They entered at a very low price. In fact, when we were paying at that time 12 rupees a kilometer, they were paying to the driver 2 more. That means 14 rupees a kilometer. So that was a pricing strategy, because now it was like, oh, even the auto is not, even though this is an auto price, so let's all take cabs. So everybody started using cabs, and they wanted us to get used to using a cab through an app. Once we got into, by seeing the prices so low, then we get used to it, and then slowly they raise the price. So that is called as price penetration strategy. So what strategy are you following? You put up that strategy, then your promotion strategy. How do you plan to reach the customer digitally or through print or through outdoor promotions, etc. And your distribution channels, like, are you having a dealer network, or have you franchising network, or what kind of way are you just utilizing the supermarket network? So which way are you reaching the customer? That's also important. Put up all this strategy. Now coming to section 7. Section 7 is about the team. Okay, and this is in fact the most important segment, because again, people invest in people, and if your team is strong, any idea, even if it is the simplest idea, can be taken and made into a multi-dollar business. But if your idea is superbly great and your team is not good, then that beautiful idea can also just be gone. It won't reach the market, because people were not smart enough to get it to the market. So make sure that you showcase your team, make a team and showcase your team with all the experience and expertise required, and it has to be a balanced team. So in the startup world, you all should learn the jargon of the startup world as well. We have a saying that you need a hacker, a hustler, and a hipster. So your team should have, your team should have a hacker, H3 you can call it, hacker, hipster, hustler. Hacker is the technology guy. So he does the technology part of your business. Hipster is your design guy. Your final product will be designed and packaged by the hipster in a form that people want. And hustler is the marketing guy who will hustle around, talk about your product, and make it reach the customer. So remember these points. So bring out your diverse team right from your board of advisors, advisory board. You can show some good names in the advisory board, your board of directors, your founder, co-founder team, and all other people associated in the company. So that's very important. Yeah. The next section is the operational plan. You can keep this short, because a lot of operational plans can become very technical, and you don't want to, everybody doesn't understand the supply chain and the value chain and all that stuff. So what you can do in this is, you can make a very simple flow chart which just says, okay, this is how my product will operate. This is the source. This is how we will reach the customer. This is how the assembly line or the product value chain is. So it's very simple just to show that. But if you have a technical flow chart and operational plan, which is like high on technology, then put it in the appendices. And here you just say that please see appendices for further details, and you can put. But what you can put here is your location of your company, your facilities, equipments, and your supply chain. In short, you can put. Don't make this long, because it's not an operational plan. 9th segment of your business plan should have milestones and metrics. That means your schedule, your timelines, what are you doing right now? What did you do till now? You say you're validating your idea, you're doing market research, then now you're making the team, you're putting the product launch around so-and-so date, and then who is doing what, defined roles and responsibilities, and give good performance metrics. That means what have you done, where have you reached, and where do you plan to reach. So you can have something like this, what we call a Gantt chart, just to give a quick glimpse of the timelines. Like Jan was the ideation stage. Primary research went over 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6 months up to June. Simultaneously, you started doing feasibility study. Then you started building relationships. Then simultaneously, you started creating a business plan. You had a prototype installed. You started raising funds right from May onwards. Then you had started selling the product in the neighborhood market where you are testing the product, your minimum viable product. You just put it across, so to test whether people are liking it and are coming back for it, or are suggesting you to make changes to it, whatever. So you put up this chart, and this becomes easy to know what you have been doing or are planning to do. The last segment of the business plan is the financial plan and the projections. Now, this segment can be intimidating and people get put off by this segment, but there is nothing to be put off, because if you are a finance person, this will be the easiest for you. But if you are not, then you can always hire people to make this for you. And usually that's what startups do. They use financial consultants or chartered accountants to make this statement. But having said that, you have to understand some bit of it yourself as a founder. And so you can't escape understanding finance if you want to be a startup or a CEO or founder of any business or want to start any business. So the basic financial things you will have to understand. The rest you can take the help. So what does the last part of the plan do? The financial plan basically brings out where are your sources of funds. That means who is putting in how much money and where is your initial funding coming from. It could come from you yourself, your savings, your friends, your family, whoever wants to invest, knowing you as a person maybe. Then you put up a assumption sheet. The assumption sheet is important because what you're saying is, I'm assuming that I will get this much share of market, what we said, So share of market, you will assume. You're doing the assumption that 5% share of market and we will grow at 2%, 3% every year, 10%, whatever. So there are many assumptions you will make. And the assumptions you can also make are assuming that the, the policies do not change, the governments do not change or whatever. So you make all these assumptions and then you take your projections of your finances from the starting date. Usually financial projections are made for 3 to 5 years. So you project them with the help of a lot of performance, which I'll just share with you today. And you can use them to make your 3 things, which are your income expenditure statements, your balance sheets, your cash flows. Cash flows are very important for startups because if you don't have enough cash flow, then you don't have enough runway. Runway is what an aeroplane needs to take off, right? So the runway in startup is that path which you need to take off your business. But if the runway falls short because your cash flows have fallen short, then what will happen? It will crash. That's it. So that's why cash flows become really important, and you need to project. And investors, even if they don't look at your profit and loss statements, that's okay, because you will be in loss for some time, maybe till you reach break even. They will look at your cash flows. So that's very important for you to not just maintain the cash flows, but also show the cash flows in a financial projection statement. And the last thing which every investor would want to see is an exit strategy. Now, the exit strategy is extremely important from 2 points of view. One is you can show how you plan to give an exit to the investor, and also how you yourself plan to exit. Okay. Now, it might look very funny for you that you haven't yet started your business and you're giving your exit strategy. But in the startup world, that is what it is. From day one, you have to have an exit strategy in place. That means today I've started, maybe 5 years from now, I would probably, you can say, as for an exit for yourself would be like, you will get acquired by another company. And that's nothing wrong in that. You get acquired, or you'll go IPO. That means you'll go in the public market, or you will get in more investors who want to buy out the stakes of your company. So whatever way, you have to give them an exit strategy. So you have to tell the investor that you will get a return and exit in 3 years. That means before 3 years, you cannot leave. That means you have invested in the company. So up to 3 years, your money is locked in with us. Third year, we can give you an exit. We can give you an exit either by getting in new investors, new rounds of funding, Series A, Series B, Series C. All these are series of fundings. Or you can, a third year, you plan to get acquired, you can say that, or you plan to go to the public market, IPO, whichever way. So that, and exit also, you have to tell them how much you're promising to give them as an exit. Of course, it's not easy to give that amount, but generally investors ask, like, what kind of an exit you want to give us? Like, will you exit us at 3x, 4x, 5x? That means whatever money we have put in, you will give us an exit at 5 times that or 3 times that money, and so on, just for example. So you can put up a business model in your business plan. It's not necessary, but you can put it up. It gives a bird's eye view of your entire business. So I don't know if you've done a business model so far, but we will not explain this for shortage of time. But basically, this is a 9-segment business model. This one sheet also is enough. It's like your elevator pitch also. So you can put this up if you want to somewhere in your business plan, if you wish to. And finally, you have to, I don't call this a segment, but this is a most important part, where in the business plan, you are going to say your ask. What are you asking for? So a business plan cannot end without an ask. Okay, that means the idea for putting up and you patiently listening and me telling you this entire plan is because I need money and I need mentorship. What do you need? Or sometimes you can ask, I need you to help me get market. I need you to put me into a global market, whatever. So generally it starts with money. So what is the ask? That means you have to clearly say, I want like 1 crore of rupees. And with this 1 crore of rupees, this is what I'm going to do. So you can put up like this, you can put up a funding proceeds. If you give me 1 crore of rupees, 78% will go in salaries, 1% will go in repairs, this blah, 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 you can put up, and you can say why you need the money by putting up a pie chart like this. Okay. Because see, when you put your money somewhere, you want to know what people are doing with that money, how are they using it. So this is the pie chart, which will show the breakdown of the funding that people are giving you, how you plan to use this money. So you can have all this in your financial plan. You can show your personal rental if you want to in the appendix section or in the main plan, but basically keep it simple. Put a pie chart just to show the major breakup, and the other operating budget, etc. you can keep in your appendices. Another thing which you can show in your business plan is like this, a very simple table which gives very broad data, which can be on again, one glimpse. You can say like this is the revenue you plan to have in the first year, or you have already, let us say in 22. Now you are saying 23, 24, 25, 26, I'm projecting. Okay. So from 500, I'm projecting almost a 10% growth in 1 year. And then again, more than double growth in the 24 and so on. Like this is your projection on some assumption. Okay. Then cost of goods sold is the cost of the direct input put into this product. So you can say this is the direct input or cost of goods sold. If you're a finance person, you will understand this. Or if you're not, don't get worried. It's a very simple concept. And then you show, to make it easy for you, COGS, COGS is what directly goes into the making of a product. Okay, directly. That means if I'm making this cell phone, let us say, then the material that has gone into this, the circuits that have gone, or the chip that has gone, and the person who has made it, assembled it. So that is direct. But for this cell phone to reach the market, I not only need these products to sit and make at home, but I need an office. I need people who will control people, an HR department. I need a CEO. I need a marketing department. I need administration. All those are called as operating expenses. So operating expenses will come here. So if I deduct that, I get the net income. So you will see in this projection, the first year and the second year, in brackets, you are getting losses because your operating expenses are very high and your revenue is very low, right? So second year also there is a loss. This is a loss. But if you look at it between the second and third year, you actually crossed the loss and you got into, from red, you became green, right? So what has happened between the second and third year, you reached what is called as break even. So this is important from investors' point of view. Why? Because, or even from your point of view, not just investor, because you want to know how much time will you have to fund yourself, right? Because here you're not getting any profits internally. In fact, there are losses. So you have to keep putting in money so to run your business. So where will you get the money from? And therefore, how long do you have to depend on others and outside money? This is important from that point of view. So here you reach your break even between second and third year, and this is how you proceed. These are your projections. You can show it on a graph. I don't want to make it too technical. And this is your exit strategy. Eventually, your plan to sell your business either to another company or to go public in an IPO or buy back equity from the investor. If you have investors, they definitely are going to ask you about an exit strategy. So to end it, you can have performers like this. This is your performer, simple one. You can fill in, this is your balance sheet, sources of funds and your total thing. And this is your performer for cash flow. This is your performer for income expenditure statement. If you are not from finance background, please don't get worried. There is nothing to get worried. It's just a simple templatized sheet here. Okay. So finally, appendices, last and final, where you will put in resumes of management team, past 3 years of tax returns, current bank statements, copies of existing loans or notes, interim income statements, personal financial statement, just to show your credibility and your company's credibility, copies of any legal documents, partnership deeds, incorporation deed, statement, everything, or any potential contracts, letters of references, testimonials, any awards won, anything that you have in the form of testimonials to make your case stronger, you can put in appendices. Okay. And finally, we like to end it with a case study, which I want you to see in Google. You can check it out. I think this should be available. But this is a very simple business plan, but very interesting one, where the startup is called as Bride's Entourage, and it's a wedding attire shop like no other. So what did the founder in this Bride's Entourage do? She actually studied the market, and she found out that in a typical Christian marriage, you need 7 to 8 people, bridesmaid, flower girls, and all that. So they have to coordinate their clothes, dresses, and accessories. And she also did a study that in her county in America, in her small county, there were 40 shops which were making bride's attire. Okay, the bride's white gown. So she said there's no point being the 41st one, so smart. So she decided that we are going to be a shop which does everything else for the bride and the bridal party except the bride's gown. Okay, and that was a smart move because bride is 1, bride's entourage is 7. So for every one wedding where there would be the demand for one gown, there would be, for her, there would be a demand for 7 people's clothes, which are the bridesmaid and the flower girls, and the bride's mother's clothes and the groom's mother's clothes. For everybody else, she made clothes except for the bride. So that is about Bride's Entourage. Very interesting case study, and I would like you to see that. And I will end it with, suppose one of you wants to build a tower. Will you not first sit down and estimate the cost to see if you have enough money to complete? Of course you will. So just look at this picture. This was made, you all know it's Eiffel Tower. Yes, you can unmute now. Can you see the Eiffel Tower?
Yes, ma'am.
Somebody tell me, can you see the Eiffel Tower?
Yes, ma'am.
Yeah. So this Eiffel Tower, this one which you are seeing, is a paper drawing. And on this paper drawing, the estimation done was, we will need 7.8 million francs to construct this Eiffel Tower. The weight of this tower is going to be 2,77,602 kgs. The base is going to be so much. The foundation is going to be so much. The weight is going to be so much. the wind sway on top is going to be so much. Therefore, it has to stand firmly in the wind. Elevator is going to be so much. Okay, so this was all worked out. 40 tons of paint. All this was worked out after the paper drawing was made. After that, look at how it came up. These are the pictures of the Eiffel Tower coming up. This is the picture. And here, this is how it stands today. So if you see on the paper, and as you see the Eiffel Tower today, this is how it could come into standing because you made it on paper. And that's the importance of a business plan. You need to have it on paper, plan it out, and then create your business. And so if you are ready, now it's time for you to make your Eiffel Tower, first on paper, business plan, and then of course, your real business. So that's it from me. Thank you all so much. And now you can ask questions if you have any. I'll just stop sharing. Yeah, I'm open for question answers.
Ma'am,
Any questions?
I hope I was clear. And
yes, ma'am. From starting to ending, like steps, it was very clear about your presentation. It was very good, ma'am. Excellent.
thank you so much. Thank you. So
Ma'am,
I'm
this
open
is-
to questions. We have around
Ma'am.
5 minutes.
This is
Yeah.
Sitaram from Acceletics. Ma'am, you
Yeah,
explained
go ahead.
about the break-even point in business. So how a startup should plan once they reach the break-even point, and what should be the next step should be taken to maintain that success in a business? Any
Yeah,
insights?
obviously, right from day one, you will work out the break even and you will work out beyond that. Yeah, good point you asked. So therefore, when you're presenting to any outside stakeholder, whether it's an investor or any partnership also you're looking for, you want to partner with somebody to expand your business. So you have to project. Look, after second year, we are going to become you're going to become cash positive. You're not going to burn any more cash. You're going to have savings. So this savings internally will be used for expanding the business. Right today, you are, let's say, in Hyderabad or Telangana. Tomorrow, you want to move. That's how the startups do. They say, we started our business in Andhra, Telangana. Now, let's say, next 2 years, we want to get into Karnataka and Tamil Nadu. Third year, Kerala, and then we'll move to the north states. So they, like, if you look at Swiggy and all these people, Big Basket and all, that's how they started. They started in one place, and within 2 to 3 years, they expanded in the entire country. So your business plan should always show a future for the company. Where what you're doing is, you can always say that I can start seeking Series 2, or I'll go for second round of funding or third round of funding if I'm already successful in 2 states here or even 1 state. Then what happens is, can I just request you all to switch off your voice sound? It's echoing back. Kindly everybody be on mute, please. Yeah, just come back when I ask you the question. Please put yourself on mute, everybody. Yeah. Kindly everybody put yourself on mute. Yeah. So you can show that expansion plan. And once your startup is successful in 1 state, then your business product is validated. Like you have been a success already in 1 place, right? You have been a success. So then investors find it very easy to give you next rounds of funding, because they say, okay, they are success in, let's say, Andhra, Telangana. Now, if they go to Karnataka, and also they are just going to replicate the model. So they need to expand their team, their marketing team, their bases in Karnataka. They have to increase their inventory outlets. So for that, they need more money. That is okay. People will keep giving them. Like if Flipkart got, I don't know, C, D, E series of funding, because they just kept expanding throughout the country. So you can show an expansion plan, and expansion plan is very easily funded by investors because you have already shown success. So you're only replicating, you will get funding very easily. It's more difficult to get funding first time because you are raising a fund without the investor knowing whether you will be a success or not. So that is a little difficult for them until they are very, very satisfied with the team and everything. But once you have already reached, like a Swiggy or someone, once they reached some level of traction, or they could capture some market, the rest is easy for it, because they just want to have to replicate an OYO model or something. Now we are expanding throughout. Later on, they also say that we are going global, like this Ola. Now Ola is global, Byju's is global. So once they go outside the country, then they have to launch in different countries. Again, they can seek funding, either from India or from that market also. So that's just replication of the model. So it becomes easier. I hope I answered your question.
Yes, thank you, ma'am.
Yeah. Any other questions?
Participants can also type
Yes,
your
Dr.
question in text box.
I'm trying to read the messages, if any. How can we plan our exit strategy? Okay. So somebody wrote COGS. Okay, thank you for that. Cost of goods sold, obviously. How can we plan our exit strategy? Like, what are the factors that we need to consider while planning it? Yeah, so most of the startups, they plan their exit strategy from the day they have started. Like this, they very typically tell an investor that we will run the business and for around 5-6 years, and we reach a valuation of so much. A valuation, that means the company is valued at so much, and 5th year, 6th year, we may get acquired by a bigger company. We are okay to get acquired. So that is one exit. Once you get acquired, you will give exit to all your investors, and they get exit at 10 times, 10x. That's a big thing. Like, for example, Myntra, Jabong, they were bought over by Flipkart, right? Am I right? I think Flipkart bought over Myntra and Jabong, both. So both of them, even though now they're called Myntra and Jabong, they're actually parts of Flipkart, let's say. So the partnership can come up, okay, and you can have a partnership, you can have whichever way it can get acquired, like Byju's acquired White Hat Junior, and they also recently acquired Akash, the training school for NEET exam, okay, Akash for medicine. So that Akash became part of Byju's, and White Hat Junior also became part of Byju's. So it's okay. White Hat Junior is a startup. After some time, Byju's has acquired them. They get a exit. So you can plan out an exit also, that we plan to get acquired. So for people who are not in the startup world, it will look funny. I'm doing my own business and I'm saying I'll get acquired. That's okay. That's startup world is like that. So after 4-5 years, you can get acquired by a bigger company and get a exit. I'll give you a Hyderabad example. How many of you have heard of Redbus? He's from Hyderabad, Fanendra Sama, and he also became the Chief Innovation Officer for Telangana government at a very young age. When he was a student, he was wanting to go home on Saturdays to Vijayawada or somewhere, and he could not find the bus because everywhere in the weekend the buses used to be full. So every time he has to go there and has to find which bus service is giving him one ticket, one seat he wanted, he couldn't get easily. So it became such a headache, and he was an IT student, I think, and so he started working on, coded some algorithm which brings all these buses. So he went to the bus guys and he told them that I'm going to put you 5 bus service providers into this Redbus app, okay, or software that he was making at that time. And so people can buy the tickets online. That is how Redbus started. Slowly and slowly, all the bus service guys came. And you know, in I think 4-5 years back, he got an exit of more than 500 CR, more than 500 CR exit. He's okay. So he made the bus, he did everything, he did all the thing, and he exited at 500 crores. So what more do you want? That's okay. You can do the next startup after that. So you can have an exit, or if you don't want to exit, don't want to get acquired, you say that you will get next round of funding and you will give these investors an exit if they want to exit. But most of the time, if your company is doing well, they may not want to exit and they may want to continue. So that you can say we'll get next round of funding and your valuation will go up in terms of your stake in the company. So those are all financial structuring, which is still very deep into the startup world, but I'm just giving an example. Or you can say we'll go for public market. So initial public offering. So we are basically going in the stock market and floating our shares. So that is also an exit for the investor. Okay. Or you can say our company will become so big that we will buy you out, or we will give you a return and we'll give you an exit. That means you put in, let's say you put in 10 lakhs, we'll give you back 50 lakhs and we'll buy your shares back. That is also an exit. You can give exit in many ways. I hope I answered you. You can unmute. I hope I answered you.
Hello, ma'am.
Somebody wrote we use, yeah, Sridevi wrote we use Red Bus, Urban Clap service provider. Yeah, all of them. So Urban Clap also, I think, many of them have bought over many small companies. And you see, it's better to buy out the small companies than to start and reinvent the wheel again. So that is what happens in this world. Yeah, any more questions? Okay, if we are done with that, I think, thank you all very much. Dr. Hafiz, back to you.
Thank you, ma'am. Thank you so much for the wonderful session. So if we have no more queries, I think we can end the session.
Hello, sir. I have one question.
Yes, please.
Hi, ma'am. I am mechanical engineer, fresher.
Yeah.
Actually, I used to design some products, but whenever I used to go to companies, and I show them my products. So they say me that this is not up to the industrial level. Okay, it is not up to the industrial level, but I am not getting job in industries. But I want to make my product industrial level. So how we can? I have one question: how to design industrial products without working in industries? Thank you.
Yeah, see, making the industrial product is like there are many people who will design your product. There are prototyping guys, there are designing guys. But the point, why they are saying you're not up to the level is because you have to compare yourself with a going technology. You have to do a lot of market research. See, this is for everybody. When you want to bring a product to the market, at least 6 months or 1 year, you have to spend only in understanding the market, understanding your competitor, understanding the technology, understanding the life cycle of technology. By the time you come in, it might get outdated. So please understand, be one step ahead and understand what is the market like, what is the industry like. So if the industry already has products like this, by the time you come in, you're already below the level of that industry. Okay. So why would anybody buy the product? So therefore, look at what the industry is now. Can you come into the market next 6 or 7 months with a product which you can beat the competition? That is where the industry will buy your product. Okay. Now, like I had one incubatee and she's still there. She came in Shark Tank. Her name is, the name of the company is Viva Life, and they make a product which without pricking your hand, you can get sugar levels for diabetic patients and you can come into the market. So she went to Shark Tank also, and apparently they agreed to fund her, but that's a different story. But today, when you want to get into the market, there are already many products which have come up in the market like her. So unless she tries to do some feature which is above them, again, see, you can get into the market, but don't expect your product to be selling like hotcakes. That won't happen. If you're okay with getting a small share of the market, okay. But if you want to get into the industry with a bang, then it's a very disruptive product you have to make. When I say disruptive, I mean to say completely change the way you do things. Like when an Uber and Ola came in, it was not the travel service which was new. Remember that. That also, my great-grandfather also had a travel service. It was the way you get the service, which was completely new. One didn't think of, I could sit at home and just on the app book a cab which would come on my doorstep. And today that is a policy, a system for every startup. Everything is at your doorstep. But they were disruptive in that format that they made an app which could aggregate cab drivers and cabs across the city, so that within 10 minutes you can get a cab. So that was disruptive. Okay, like that, if you think of you're making something disruptive, then you have to come up fast in the market and be above what people are even envisioning. Otherwise, you can come in the market, but see that you will have competition. Great, it's okay, but your product cannot be so behind time and so below the. If today, if any phone comes which has some old features and not, will you buy that phone? Tell me. You won't, na? You will look for all the new features, right? You look for, even if the phone doesn't have all the features, at least some good feature it should have. Some new feature which others don't have, you want to buy that phone. So when you go into the industry, your product is not in the final form, that's okay. But slowly and slowly you have to bring it to some level of industry standards or go beyond it. That's when people buy.
Okay, ma'am. Thank you, ma'am.
Yeah, wait.
Thank you so much.
Okay, sir, we have
So
a
with
question.
this,
Rifa Begum, please focus on the fundings of science-related startups.
Okay. So science-related startups, if you are in biotechnology, life sciences, there are special funds for you, and because your gestation is very long, and if you are in pharma, biotechnology, or even life science projects, startups, your time to start is actually very long. Okay, we understand that. Therefore, there are different kinds of funds for you, like BIRAC is one foundation. BIRAC gives you funds for biotechnology. Department of Biotechnology specially gives funds for people in biotechnology, and Department of Science and Technology gives funds for life science projects. Like if you're coming up with a molecule, the very idea for making the definition of a startup as 10 years, from 5 they moved to 7, from 7 they moved to 10, was simply because they understood that biotechnology and science projects take that much time. So you can't really go and compete yourself with those guys in the IT sector, because they are like people who come quick in the market, because they have to make apps and IT products and all, and they don't have enough, they don't need to do a lot of heavy research like life science projects may have to do. So therefore the best is to get into a good life science incubator and then keep applying for grants. So government has a lot of grants for biotechnology and life science projects. Look into those projects, and even chemistry and physics and all these things, you need a lot of experimentation, proof of concept and all those things, which may take you 5-6 years to come to the market. So, and for pharma it takes even more, because you have to do trials, so many trials, animal trials, human trials, so that takes around 10 years. So all that you have to depend a lot on grants or on specialized funding which is given only for these kind of projects. So if you look at, you will find there are some VC funds also, and a lot of other grants and funds which are only for, like I said, BIRAC is one, only for science projects, right? So have a look at those if you are into that field and try for those. I hope I answered you, Rohan.
Yes.
there's one more question, madam. Text box.
What is that?
Uh,
How to understand market when pricing of agro products is oscillating from few hundreds to thousands? Okay. The best way to understand pricing is to see your nearest competitor product. Even if you have very little competition in the market, please try to see what is the nearest or what is the alternative. So if your alternate is selling for 100 rupees, okay, just an example, if you're, what people are using now, like I have a startup who's making a fertilizers dispensing machine, spraying machine, which you don't have to carry in your back, both for fertilizers as well as pesticides, etc. It's very difficult to carry that in your back and spray. So he's made a very beautiful thing which you can roll it on the ground and spray. Now the thing is, people will always compare with what is the existing product. So what is it, if they are not using this product, what are they using? That is what you have to see. Sometimes your alternate can be very simple thing also. If they are using that simple thing, can they move to this product and what is the cost of switching. So if they are paying 100 rupees for this and your product is like 2-3 times better than that product, then you have to start at 100 and say for them to come to my product, maybe because I'm better, I could charge 150 because they understand I have new features, I have things, but your base has to be that only. So look at the competition and the competitive prices, take that as a benchmark and then fix either below that or above that. There are people who will fix the price below to grab the market first, which is fine, like Uber did and many others did. And if your costs are also not getting covered, still they sell it below cost also. Why? Because first they want the market. Once the market gets used to an Uber, Ola or a Swiggy, after that they won't go anywhere else. They have to use those apps only. So therefore first is getting the market is comparing yourself with an alternate pricing and pricing it very low so that you can get the market. Unless and until you are a product which is trying to get into a premium segment. Yeah, we have some more questions which have come up. Let me have a look. Thank you, Dr. Arifa. Madam, what are the factors to be considered for pricing of our product? That's what I said, no? The pricing you will consider by 2-3 things. One is the cost of production. But your cost of production, even if it is very high, you cannot put that product in the market if its alternate and competitive products are selling at a lower price. Nobody will buy your product. You can't say that my cost is very high, so therefore my price is high. So that doesn't matter to the customer. He says your cost is high, that's your problem. We are buying a competitive product which is half your price. Why should we buy your product? So always the benchmark has to be the existing competitive products which are your competitors in the market. From there you have to start. Either a little more or a little less, but that should be your benchmark. How to make my idea into a prototype since I am not a techie? If you're not a techie, then there's no problem. You have an idea, you get a techie onboarded as a co-founder or a partner, and then make the product. What's the problem? Even if you're hiring the techie, you can give him some share of the business and say that you work for me as well as I'll give you equity in the company, half and half, and you come and become my partner and co-founder because you're the techie guy, I'm the brain behind it, together we can do the business. That's how you have to do it.
Ma'am, I have a question from our incubator startup point of view. We have a startup named Gate India Electronics where they are at the stage of TRL 9. They are market ready product and they have already entered into the market, but with a very minimum revenue generated over the years of 2 or 3. They have launched their product in last year February. Till now they have escalated up to 60,000 sales, 30,000 sales.
That's really good.
So what should be the
what is the product?
It's a
What is the
scientific
product?
it's a scientific calculator, ma'am, which is very much in sync with the competitive exams scientific virtual calculator that they have. In the competitive exams, we have a virtual calculator that is given in the competitive exam.
So who are the customers? Who are the customers?
Targeted customers would be students and competitive exam. These coaching center students who are going for the competition exams.
Okay, what are they doing right now without that?
Without that, they have a huge competition from Casio, Cello, and many other scientific calculators, which are completely different from the virtual calculator that they have in the during the examination time. So these people came up with the same attributes of that virtual calculator, and they have developed this physical product so that the exam attendees can have much more friction with or traction with the product before going to the examination.
Only at the time of exam,
Yes.
the virtual calculator is used, for which they are creating a
Physical
virtual
product.
calculator so that they can use it easily in the exam.
Yes, ma'am. So what should be their
So again-
entry market strategy?
No, First of all, the most of the startups cannot sell because they have not tested the market. Please remember, if they have not tested the market and how much demand is going to be there, that is going to be the biggest problem for all startups.
Okay.
See, only when they go for writing the exam, how much time do they need to use that? Very little time. At the very outset, I can see that the market is not very large. The number of people writing competitive exam is large, I understand, but they can do with other calculators. It's only you're creating a competitive thing for them to make it like a virtual calculator before you go for the exam, and that can be a 1 time, 2 time, 3 time thing in your whole lifetime. So see, we have a saying, we have to see the customer lifetime value of the product. How many times is he going to use that product and how much is he ready to pay for the product? If he's going only for the exam 2-3 times in his life and he can do with other calculators better, why would he want this calculator? See, the market, if you don't test the market, now they have to find some other model to tweak it to make its usage more wide. If its usage is only during exam time, so that therefore you're giving them a practice before that, I don't see it as a very, very robust market.
Okay.
So if you are not checking the market before you enter, you're not checking it that there are enough number of people. I again give you one more example. Somebody in KLU told me, university told me, we want to make a product where when we are in a party or some marriage or something, all the youngsters, we want to hear a different music and the seniors want to hear a different music. So we want to split the, what is that called, Bluetooth in such a way. We want to split the Bluetooth in such a way that people, they can be some kind of app splinter where the youngsters can listen to their music and the seniors to them. I said, are you going to make a startup based on that one thing? That's not enough market. When would you use it? During a marriage time, during a function time? It can be one feature of the product. It cannot be a product by itself. Okay. So even like virtual calculator, I think it can be a feature of some product, and just making a whole business out of it, I don't think there's enough market. That's my take. I may be wrong. Okay.
But you have mentioned.
I have not tested the market. Yeah, I think they should test the market first.
Okay.
And make it like a bigger product with one feature like this.
Okay. Thank you, ma'am.
Okay. Yeah. So I think if the questions are over, I am providing bookkeeping, accounting, and taxation services. Is it a good one? Sridevi, madam, bookkeeping, accounting, and taxation services are already there in every software, accounting, financial software. So it's okay, you can use it, but don't create a business out of it. And only that, okay, that is commoditized now. Commoditized, you understand, when the product, like today, I can go on, Shopify and make a website. So even if I'm not a technical person, a basic website I can make if I go on Shopify, right? But if I want to go outside and give, I have people who are making websites from 5,000 onwards. But when websites, internet started, .com, that's why they say .com bubble. To make a website architecture, they used to take 1 lakh, 2 lakhs, 3 lakhs. Even now, if you're a simple website, if you are a very static, dynamic website, you might have to pay 25 lakhs also. Like an Amazon and all will have to pay much more. Okay. But what I'm trying to say is, it is a commoditized product over time. So don't make a business out of it. Bookkeeping, accounting, taxation, plenty. And now people have made bookkeeping for small businesses, like there's a startup called Khata Book. There's a startup called, one of my guys making in Telugu, no? Lekkala Book. He's making one app for small kirana stores and small businesses. So these all have got commoditized now. Okay. Umarani madam has raised her hand. Any question? Any question from?
No, madam.
Yeah. Yeah, you have a question? Okay, I think we can close the session. I think I've answered most of the questions. Yeah.
Yeah, any further questions? We'll divert to you.
On the chat, it is, I'm supposed to guide my students. How is it possible to motivate them when there is no significant importance about the business ideas from college and parents' point of view? Still, we are asked to churn business startups. Time is a constraint and no cooperation. I agree with you totally. The reason why I started my organization was this, because I was nurturing a lot of students. Indeed, the ecosystem has developed well now. You are right now listening to this program because an incubator is doing it for you. Similarly, every engineering college today, every technical college today has to have an incubator. It is mandated. So the ecosystem is developing, and especially Telangana government is giving a lot of encouragement to startups. So yes, you will have that trade-off always between a job and a startup, and no help, no support, but that's what an entrepreneur is. He will seek, churn out, and see where he can get support. And there are today more than 50 incubators only in Telangana. I think 57 or so only in Telangana, and 40 in Hyderabad itself, who are there to help you and support you. So please reach out wherever possible.
Yes, ma'am. Thank you, ma'am. The point here is we also have an incubator in our college, but everything is it's a time constraint. That's what I can tell you, because we are motivating and we are trying to guide the students. But what happens is, even my college timings are not having any specific time or any slot for me to go and guide the students. We have to meet once in a week. Yeah. And some of them whom we churn, they go out of this particular curriculum for the next academic year. They don't even have the botheration to come and tell us they have already started something. So the ones who have gone are gone. The ones who are in our hands are so premature. We are not able to do anything. That was my.
So what I will suggest. So I totally agree with you, man. But that's why we say the college ecosystem has to change completely, and you have to make faculty in charge of incubators is not actually the right thing to do, except if the faculty is so much interested in running the incubator. Incubator in charge has to be different. Incubation faculty, mentors, links have to be different, and the startups have to be owned by the college. Unless and until you give the importance to your startups, own them, appreciate them, and put up in the newspaper, don't put up 100% placement only. Put 100% placement, put 5 startups from college. If you don't encourage them, and if you don't, neither the parents are doing it, nor the faculty does it. So why would anybody want to go? Why there is a Microsoft which is coming to take me for a job and giving me this much, and I'd rather go there. That is the mentality of a guy. So the college has to take they have to take the stand that these are our startups. We have to nurture them. I know of a lot of colleges today that I am mentoring and going to. They are giving them small amounts to somehow keep them going. Small amounts, pocket money and some incubation amount, and then they are seeking projects in industry so that they get money to keep going their product. Of course, as college, you can apply for a lot of grants also under TBI and TIDE, but you have to showcase something where the faculty will also. I know they have a lot of other things to do, but they will have to feel that they are a mentor to a startup, and they should actually become a stakeholder in the startup, like IIT profs are doing. Very easily said than done, I agree. But each of these startups have a prof who is on their advisory board and may also have a stake in the company. He is actually with them for quite some time till they go out of the incubator, and sometimes even after that, the professors are on their boards, and they also have stake in the companies. So you can think of that model that will help out.
Yes, so many.
That should become the ecosystem. Madam, right now the ecosystem is, there are a lot of teething troubles. Unfortunately, you got me into an area which I am very fond of talking. So what is happening is we are into a system where we take pride in the placements we show. Slowly, next decade, we have to take pride in the startups we generate. Until that time, this conflict of interest will be there. Okay.
Yes. Thank you.
Yes, Dr. Basha, can we close it?
Yes, ma'am. Already we are exceeded the time by 30 minutes.
Yeah.
Very glad that you
yeah.
spent time with our participants. So with this, we have
I'm
come
glad to be
the
here.
end of the session too. So once again, thank you
Thank you
so
so
much.
much for having. Thank
Yes.
you.
Sir, feedback
Or request.
yes. Sir.
Yeah, it will be shared. It will be shared shortly.
Thank you, Basha, sir. Okay.
Okay. Thank you, sir. I'll
Now I
leave the
request
session.
our CEO, Dr. Zaharullah sir, to address the part.
Can I leave the session?
Yes, ma'am. No problem. Hello. Hello. Am I audible? Yes, sir.
Yes, sir. Audible, sir.
Right, thank you. So you have seen and listened to the speakers of today's session, and the main part of our program is that the evaluation of the pitch decks submitted by the entrepreneurs or the innovators and startups. So in this today first session, we would like to give you some glance over on the pitch deck, how a pitch deck would be prepared, and so further, you have to give your own pitch deck formats on your innovations, on your idea, or moreover a POC or a prototype. So this is what the session goes into, and let me share a presentation and give you a glance on how a elevation pitch would be prepared. Just now you have listened to the eminent speakers, Dr. Nandita and also Dr. Radhika, Meenakshi, and you came to know about the business plan and also how a business has to be started with, and what are the different entrepreneurial traits and skills one has to equip with. And now let us see how a business plan or a business model, a revenue model would be prepared based upon the assistance of the pitch deck. So let me share the pitch deck. So the session will be for 10 minutes. I want to give you a glance as I told. Yeah. Right. Is it visible to you?
Yes, sir. Visible.
Yes, sir.
Right. Yeah. So just 10 seconds. I think it's loading for me. So can you able to see the second slide?
Yes, sir.
Yes, sir.
Right. Yeah, so this is one best example of a pitch deck, and I have taken Anuha Food Products Private Limited, which is a FMCG product based startup company, and you can look here. This is the brand name of the company by name Jillies, where they have a tagline by name Makes Life Easier, and they have applied for a trademark and they got the registered trademark on this logo and the brand name. So this is what the Jillies, which is Anuha Foods Product Private Limited. If we look into the first slide, so it should address the problem. What problem is being addressed? So the problem should correspond directly to the market research, market survey, and also what exactly the customer require. So that gap has to be found out. The gap is in such a way that you have to do a critical analysis, which is referred as gap analysis, and you have to come with a requirement for the customer. So you have to look into customer and find the gap, what exactly the customer require, and then you have to come up with that problem as a statement. Now the company has come up with adulteration, which is found in maximum in most of their products, which are blends, which are generally the spices, and some of the the crops, mineral like the major and minor crops, or you can say the processed foods. So this company is focused more on certain products, certain spice and blends. So they have found most of the adulteration are being done in those spice and blends. So next is hot grinding. So that decreases the natural taste and the nutrient level in the spices. Generally, the grinding method, electric grinding method or the hot grinding method, is employed by the most of the companies. Now, limited brands selling authentic regional spice blends. So the local and regional level spices blends are not available, because we have most of them are the pan India level or the North Indian. The blends are being sold in South India, so something like that. So this is what another problem they have found, and diminishing culinary skills. So because of the increasing urbanization, so women who are working are more in number right nowadays, and now people are looking for some ready-made foods, where the ready-made processed foods has to be used in making the food. So this is what they have found, and they have come up with an target market. So the third slide should define the target market. The target market should be give the clarity on the segments, like what kind of segments. Suppose say here they have mentioned about the people living in tier 1 and tier 2 area, and as per their age, as per the working women, and number of shops, or you can say online shoppers. So this is what the market segment, and you have to define it as total accessible market, available market, TAM, and also SAM, serviceable available market, and serviceable obtainable market, which is referred as SOM. So this is what you have to define here. In the next slide, you have to define about your solution. So here they have mentioned about the solution, which is nothing but the USP of their company. It is nothing but unique selling proposition. So now they have come up with an NABL certified lab tested products. So this is for adulteration. They have mentioned in the second slide about adulteration, and their solution should quality check. Next, cold pressed spices. So they have mentioned in problem statement about heat grinding, and now they have cold pressed spices, which is a traditional method of pounding, and that's how they have come up with. Next, regional spices. Mentioned about the the regional spices non-availability, and now they have come up with that. So ready to cook spice blends. So they have mentioned in the problem statement about the working women. Most of the working women are there in India right now. So now they have come up with a ready to cook. So the main USP comes is no preservatives, vegan and gluten free. So this is how you have to mention about your solution if you are coming with any product. So this is one example we are giving you, we are showing you directly with permission from the founders of this company. So we have an permission to show you this PPT as an example. So you can see, I just repeat once again, the problem statement and target market and the solution with USP. This is what is the main part of the pitch deck. So are you following? Is that okay?
Yes, sir.
Yes, sir.
Yes, sir. Right, thank you. So let us see the vision of the company. So they have mentioned clearly the vision of the company. So you should be very careful about your vision and mission. Remember, any entrepreneur should come up with a vision and mission. Without vision and mission, you cannot do, you cannot move, and it will be completely a mess for you, for your company, for the objectives of the company. So now these people, entrepreneur means he should come up with a certain, the passion, to change the society, to help the people, to help certain communities and certain region, or you can say certain location. So that's what the main intention of an entrepreneur. An entrepreneur is a visionary. An entrepreneur is you name the entrepreneur is such a person who will change, who will make a large change in the society. Moreover, it is in terms of economic development. So that's what, like, you make economic development and then you create the jobs. So the main purpose of an entrepreneur is to value, to increase the value, and to make economic empowerment, and then bring a lot of the jobs within the country. So your vision should be very broad, or your mission should be very broad. Now they wanted to, the company wanted to bring a pure form of traditional range of products for their customers. So that's what they are intended, and they have to, they are working for the best of the products that can be delivered to the customers. So it's customer centric. So that's what the vision. Now they have floated some products. So you can give the one can give the different specification of the products like this, and there are certifications. If you have the certifications, you can mention the certifications. For example, they have mentioned about FSSI, US Food and Drug, and so they have some recognitions from different institutes. So as I told you, the total available market, serviceable available market, and serviceable obtainable market. So you have to give for your products, for your the service. Even the service and product are the two entities where a company would provide. Now if you speak about the main area wherein your product goes or your service goes is serviceable obtainable market, SOM. So this is what your main area is. So now in the next slide, one can mention about some of the the problem. These are actually problem statement defined in detail, so I don't want to give much focus on this. So it's almost like the diminishing culinary skills, rapid urbanization, increase in women participation, Indian cooking, rise in nuclear families. So these are all the reasons they have mentioned why their product has to come into the market, and how they have to take up place and position their product. So that's what the main intention. So now revenue model. So the revenue model they have been focusing is D2C, which is direct to consumer model, and they are directly selling them through different online portals, and now they are moving into offline. And so generally we have B2B, which is business to business, B2C, business to consumer or customer, and then B2G, which is business to government. So these are the different modes or models, revenue models one has to enter, and one product or a service can have. So this is one of the example, which is D2C. So they have clearly given some of the the metrics related to the cost-effective retail distribution and a safe doorstep delivery, brand consumer relationship, and so they have mentioned even 700 million internet consumers growing 24% annually. So this is one of the best target for them, and higher loyalty and retention time. So the retention, which is nothing but the product retention, and so that's what they have mentioned. So they have a very good scope, if we see in the market size by 2025. So this is how you have to give, and they have mentioned the references also here, one can see. So when you mention any such kind of stats which speaks up on the scope, so you have to give the references, a valid references. Nowadays we have many websites which gives you market survey, market research data, so you have to bring that information. For every the statement given by you should have validated reference in the form of any sample surveys or any kind of third party references, like work which they have done, so you can make it as a reference. So the market strategy which the company has made is nothing but through e-commerce. So they have Instagram, Facebook, email marketing, YouTube videos, and blogging. So through that they have been earning about 33% of the revenue as of now, and so that's almost by digital marketing. So exhibitions. So for certain products, exhibitions play an important role, as it is a food product, FMCG product. So exhibitions will always have a huge the customer acquisition for these companies. Each and every business comes with its own strategy, with its own methods, and its own advertising marketing ways. So one has to explore that and come up with such kind of models. So this is one way how they have acquiring the customers. Now competitive analysis, this is the best slide. One has to give how their product can be compared with other brands, like in terms of technology, in terms of certain factor, in terms of quality, like residual adherent testing, in terms of the costing and pricing, and also in terms of the raw material sourcing. So this is what they have mentioned, and the present company's product is having all these features. That's what you have to mention in your competitive analysis. So next, accomplishments. You have to mention about the accomplishments of your product if you have. So this is what the company has given. Team. So right now, team is always important. One has to give the complete the profile of the team. Remember always, it's not the company, it's the team, it's the founders, co-founders, or the people who are behind that. That's what an investor would see. A bank loan, the agency will see, and any kind of people, they will see only team, because team is the one, the founders or the people are the one who drives the complete company. It's company means not just the buildings, not just the infrastructure. It's about the people who takes it forward. It's the entrepreneurs. It's you. So that's what is very much important. And so we encourage most of you to come up in form of team, in form of founders, co-founders, not instead of a single person, because we have seen many of the failures in a single team. But you should have always a good team with the different portfolios. You divide and give, just like the speaker is saying about if one is having a good technical knowledge, other one has to come up with other segment, other aspect, like suppose say business, marketing. So you have to divide the portfolio, and then you have to make a equity share or shareholding pattern in the company, and then you have to move your business journey or entrepreneurial journey. So nowadays, the social media, digital marketing is the one which is making a new trend for certain products. I'm telling you. So it depends upon product to product. So that's how the company is doing. So this is one of the best pitch deck, and so it's almost like 14 slides, and so I'm going to stop this presentation, and yeah. So if you talk about am I audible? Hello?
Yes, sir.
Yes, sir.
Right, fine. So we will share you the pitch deck format, and we request you to come up with your own presentation in the next session. So tomorrow most probably we would like to hear from you. Any one of you can give your presentation as well for 5 minutes only, just a glance of your presentation. So we through these sessions, we encourage people to come up with your ideas, your prototypes, your products, and your business idea, and start giving your pitching. And in the last session on 18th of July, we will perform an entrepreneurial assessment test, and then we will select people to the next stage, that is pre-incubation model of our incubation center. So this is what I want to convey today. Like, you should write your own pitch deck and then come up with a good presentation. So we would like to assess after every 2 sessions. So as you know, like every day we have 2 sessions, and after every 2 sessions for the next 30 minutes we will have a discussion on the pitch deck or on your ideas, so how we can take it forward. And so seriously, the people who are ready to take up their ideas into a business. So that's what our main intention is, and that's what our main the motto behind our entrepreneurship skill certification course. I hope that you people have been receiving the best out of it, and in the next coming days, please be very serious, take down the notes of every speaker, and so we are very focused, and we are very serious about this course, and I hope that you people will cooperate and contribute, and also come up, so that we take you forward. Thank you very much.
Thank you so much, sir. So with this, we have come to an end of today's session. So we will continue tomorrow again at 2 p.m. where we have planned sessions on market strategy and market, how to choose a market. So we will send the feedback form to you by email. So kindly complete it and share it with us. So with this, once again, thank you all for participating in today's program, and looking forward to see you tomorrow. So thank you. Have a nice day. Bye.
Thank you, sir. Thank you, sir.
Thank you, sir.
Thank you,
Thank
sir.
you, sir.